Rise, O come, patriots, Nigeria's glory, to set the fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. O God of creation, direct our noble cause. Guide us, oh, lead us right. Help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow and live in just and true. Great lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and justice reign.
Thank you, David. Please put your hands together for David once again. Elijah, apologies for that. Once again, I bid you welcome to today's event. We promised that this event would be quite insightful and thought-provoking. I expect that you'll be able to grasp one or two things before you leave this place today. Should you want to use the restroom, you can access the restroom through the door at the back to your left. And I would advise that we use our face mask, please. It's really important. To proceed, on our order of program here, we have something about networking. I'd like us to take the next 120 seconds, that'll be 2 minutes, to meet somebody. Someone you don't know prior to this event. Just move around, meet somebody. 120 seconds, introduce yourself. Tell the person what you do for a living. Meet someone, 120 seconds. We want to be as engaging as possible. Let us connect. Let us network. 120 seconds, please. Your time starts now. We have a minute to go, 60 seconds. Can we settle down now? Let us settle down, please. We'll continue this at the end of the event. Let's settle down, please. Gentlemen and ladies, can we settle down so that we can proceed? Thank you. How many of us got someone's contact? Just wave. I did not say, did you get the contact of a babe, guys? Because I saw some guys from here, they were going back. You have people beside you, to your right and left, like you're going back. Like that, babe. I'll go collect the number. All right, let's settle down. For the welcome address, I'd like to invite on stage David Afolayan. Please put your hands together for him. Content Chief, Technext. Let's keep clapping until he gets here. Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Thank you. Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, Africa. Good evening to you. Is good evening very expensive? Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm happy to see you. Are you happy to be here? Yes, we are happy. Africa is happy. I'm here to tell you why it is important for us to be here. For a long time, I've been not a very popular face, but I was very popular in the recent weeks because I had to tell you 3 reasons why you should attend this conference. I don't know how many of you that saw that. It is important for us to sit down and have a conversation. And the question is why? Because central to our survival is a conversation around trade. Humans need to interact. Humans need to survive. Trade is crucial to survival because we need to feed, we need to clothe ourselves, and we need shelter. We need instruments to acquire these conveniences. And trade is that instrument. We need to buy and we need to sell. And from the beginning of our existence, trade has taken place in different forms. Our ancestors used cowries, people used gold, people used salt, where you barter, exchange goods for other goods. And now we got to the point where we exchange fiat money, coins, paper, as exchange of value. But the world is changing, and we are very lucky to be at the foothold of that change. And that is that point where digital currencies are replacing fiat money. And now we can transact without borders. And there is a need for conversations. Because the rules that applied many years ago are no longer applying. And some of us are not finding the change very convenient. So we think that there is a need for innovators, enthusiasts, and regulators to have a conversation. And that was how we bettered Conference 2021. This is the maiden edition, and I count myself lucky to be a part of it. And I think you're lucky too. So give yourself a round of applause. So what are we going to be doing here today? If you check through our list of speakers, we are going to have first a keynote conversation with the Honorable Minister of State for Finance. And because of events that some of us are aware of, Lagos is very busy today because we have the #1 citizen around. The minister wouldn't be able to come, but he'll be speaking to us on the screen. And we are also going to have a panel session to discuss what the minister has set the tone for. So we'll be having some innovators and some regulators speaking to us on stage. And after that, we are going to have one of the most amazing innovators in this space talk to us about the amazing possibilities of blockchain in the years to come for Africa. And shortly after that, we are also going to have a conversation about the statements he has made. So tonight, I want you to listen with an open mind. Some of us don't like listening to things that do not go with our bias. But tonight is that night we are going to question everything and put it on the table. And at the end, I believe that you'll be wiser for it, and you'll be able to make smarter decisions. There are a lot of opportunities in this world, as you can see. We are giving you freebies, but that is not the height of it. Information is power, and with power, we can change the world. Cryptocurrency is a conversation for today, and it's going to be the conversation for tomorrow. You need to be a part of that conversation, and that is why you are here. I thank you all for registering. I know the traffic, because of the president's visit, is making some of us get here late, but we are going to enjoy ourselves, and Africa will be better for it. Thank you for coming. God bless you.
Can we put our hands together for David once again? Before we proceed to the next item on the agenda, I'd like to inform us that we have free Wi-Fi in the hall. Technical guys, can we have the password on the screen? The Wi-Fi password on the screen. Whilst we're waiting for that, I think you can use your network to go to the website where you want to download the movies from. It's free Wi-Fi. Some of us haven't seen the latest 007. It's out now, free. You can download. But we will catch you. All right. We proceed to the first keynote address of the evening. From the Honorable Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Prince Clem Ikanade Agbe is a consummate economist with extensive years of experience in the oil industry, mostly with Chevron Nigeria Limited, where he retired in 2019 to join public service and politics. He previously served as the Commissioner for Environment and Public Utilities in Edo State from January 23, 2009 to July 25, 2010. He was also the Commissioner for Lands, Survey, and Housing. Some of his achievements include setting up of the Edo State Geographical Information Services, EGIS, within a record time of 5 months. He attended the then Bendel State University, now Ambrose Ali University, Epoma, and graduated with a BSc Economics degree in 1985. He also acquired 2 master's degrees in business administration, the first from University of Benin, specializing in management, and the second from the Arizona State University, Arizona, USA, specializing in supply chain management. I'd crave indulgence to put your hands together as we listen to the keynote from Prince Clem Agbe.
I am delighted to be a part of the maiden edition of the Technext conference as the keynote speaker on innovation, regulation, and aftermath as it pertains to cryptocurrency. I sincerely thank the organizers of this conference and feel honored to give this address at such a time that Nigeria is about to launch a new National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 and also preparing a long-term perspective plan, Christian Nigeria Agenda 2050. This event could not therefore have come at a better time than now. Firstly, let me start by apologizing for my inability to attend in person. I really look forward to participating physically in the knowledge share that will take place today. But as this video is being played, I'm currently involved in another meeting here in Abuja that I had previously committed myself to attending, and unfortunately, I cannot physically be in 2 places at the same time. Nonetheless, I would like to thank all the members of Technext for their humorous creativity in terming this event a conference, and most especially for organizing a timely conversation on reimagining cryptocurrency as the possible future of finance. This is a topic that captures our mutual desire for exploring innovative mechanisms towards economic recovery, sustained growth, and development. Now, Some of you may understandably be wondering what an official of a government that apparently does not believe in crypto is doing speaking at such an event. I hope to both clarify and answer that question by the end of this address. Cryptocurrencies, or in a general sense, the blockchain opens up numerous possibilities for optimizations in our current systems across industries. It could be the biggest disruptor in finance and governance the world has ever witnessed, affecting the way we view not just money, but assets alike. For example, in real estate and trade, we can harness the blockchain to create and store all lands in their base unit of a plot as non-fungible tokens, NFTs, empowering us to store and track the historical ownership of land on the blockchain, which allows each plot to be authenticated without the need for third-party verification. Such a solution benefits citizens and government at various levels. Government benefits via the cost saved from committing resources and funding specific MDAs and committees in resolving boundary and land issues. Citizens, on the other hand, in general, benefit from the opportunity costs associated with resolving these issues, and those expending their money to purchase land can do so with utmost confidence of its authenticity and peace of mind that they are not being defrauded by the seller. This is a real issue we face today in Nigeria that hopefully can be solved in the near future by the burgeoning developments in the blockchain space. The ability to track the ownership of assets provides uncountable benefits to citizens and government alike. However, from my perspective, as a minister charged with the responsibility of envisioning our great country, Nigeria, in the next 30 years, I am more interested in the use cases that promote financial inclusivity for all, for example, and also in real estate, the tokenization of assets like buildings. As we all know, in real estate, you have to buy a whole asset at once. What this means is that the person who has 5 million naira to invest cannot own 100 million naira property unless financed at high interest rates, essentially losing out on the investment opportunity. However, by tokenizing the asset, the individual can buy 5 million tokens of the 100 million asset, thus significantly reducing the barrier to ownership and investment. This could be similar to the share system applied in organizations today. The economic benefit such a solution could pose to every Nigerian, especially our citizens with lower net incomes, cannot be understated. However, I am sure nobody at this distinguished event of early adopters requires my explanation on the utility and use cases that cryptocurrencies and the blockchain provide. Rather, I hope so far I have been able to demonstrate that both citizens and governments see the benefits of cryptocurrencies and mutually believe in them. It is crucial for all stakeholders to view each player as a key teammate in forging paths towards a healthy crypto space in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must iterate, however, that the government does share a similar vision and excitement for the possibilities that await us all. This stance has been demonstrated by the executive arm of the federal government through His Excellency, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo's speech earlier this year, charging us all to act with knowledge and not in fear in terms of regulating cryptocurrencies. Similarly, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has also demonstrated their belief by the creation and launching of the e-Naira, Nigeria's Central Bank Digital Currency, CBDC, and Africa's first CBDC. CBDCs, in a general sense, have the capacity to provide solutions to many issues plaguing our current financial system, such as frequent service downtimes and lack of financial inclusivity, to name a few. With a CBDC, we can experience a 99% uptime, faster transactions, higher security, improved access to financial services, and a lower barrier to entry. This means a trader in Lagos State can make fast, cost-effective transfers to a local farmer in Kano without any of the parties requiring a bank account. With the appropriate collaboration between all stakeholders, we have the potential to build an array of products ranging from payments to financial inclusivity solutions using our CBDC as the underlying infrastructure. Potentially, CBDCs could also be used as stable coins, which eliminates the problem surrounding the proper collateralization of stable coins that we see today. You may be left wondering that if the government truly sees the value of cryptocurrencies, why then are they banned in Nigeria? The answer lies in the regulatory conversation currently taking place in Nigeria and also worldwide. Typically, when people hear the mention of the word regulation, they think of something akin to a giant hammer slamming down on the activities going on in an industry. However, I believe it will serve us more to view regulation as the act of tweaking the soil and environment to optimal conditions for growth, tailored towards a specific seed or industry. Following this analogy, the regulatory process would have to account for the best nutritional combination, as well as methods to deter pests for the industry in question. Applying this to cryptocurrencies, the best nutritional combination would be one that thoroughly examines the state of the industry and its requirements to grow, while the pest could be viewed as high price volatility. The proper collateralization of stablecoins and the malicious intentions of crypto-based organizations towards unsuspecting citizens. Having said that, in order to have a fruitful conversation about the regulation of any industry, it is first important to have an understanding of the structure of governance overseeing the industry in the form of the various stakeholders and their responsibilities. This holds true for the cryptocurrency space as well. In the cryptocurrency space, the potential governmental stakeholders involved in regulation are the executive, through the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and the CBN, a fully autonomous body. The Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and CBN have policy making as part of their mandates. However, while the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning oversees fiscal policy, the CBN, on the other hand, oversees monetary policy. Without understanding comes a major challenge of regulating cryptocurrencies. Who has the power to regulate? This may seem like a strange and straightforward question, but it is indeed a consideration. The answer to this question lies in how we classify cryptocurrencies. Are they a security as classified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC? A property as classified in the United Kingdom, China, and Singapore? A currency as classified by the US Treasury, or even a commodity as classified by the US Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC? Currently in Nigeria, cryptocurrencies are under the jurisdiction of CBN, as it is believed to fall under monetary policy. Though for now, as announced by Nigeria's SEC Director General, Lamido Yuguda, earlier in April, Nigeria's SEC is currently in discussions with the CBN to enable a better understanding and regulation of the crypto space. Since our existing extant laws cannot explicitly stipulate who holds the power to regulate cryptocurrencies, there may be a need for an additional body to play this role. However, regardless of solving this challenge, there are several factors that the government will have to balance in order to craft an enabling regulatory framework, one of which is the safety of all citizens when participating in the industry. We all know of the good cryptocurrencies are capable of, the inclusivity and wealth creation they have already fostered. Thousands have made life-changing gains from trading and holding various cryptocurrencies, but hundreds of thousands have made losses that will be fed by generations to come through scams in the crypto space. I'm sure we all remember the $2 billion scam by BitConnect in 2016, the barrage of initial coin offering scams in 2017, and most recently, the $3.3 million scam of the Squid Game cryptocurrency token, Squid, last month. Although scams are not exclusive to cryptocurrencies, it is much easier for unsuspecting citizens to fall into these scams in an unregulated field that has a high educational barrier to entry. Conceptually, cryptocurrencies, their types such as stablecoins, altcoins, security tokens, value tokens, and these terminologies may be harder to explain to the average Nigerian than stocks or regular trading. Despite this, there is still a larger demography of citizens, educated or not, that fall for various investment scams such as MMM. Therefore, there is a consideration that if citizens can fall for these scams in a regulated sector, where verifying the legitimacy of a company could be as straightforward as cross-checking their registration with SEC, how many more could be victims in the space with no explicit verification method? Another factor for consideration is how cryptocurrencies affect the nation's security. Although significant progress has been made, we are unfortunately not where we want to be security-wise in the country, which is a key pillar for this administration's goals. To address this, we have been boosting our intelligence, manpower, and artillery capabilities, as well as the funding of the relevant security agencies. Given this security climate, while regulating, we must consider if cryptocurrencies aid or discount these efforts. Do they make it easier for terrorists and their sponsors to make illicit purchases? Apart from terrorists, does this hold true for traffickers as well? This is a situation where a probe could also be a coin. The ease of cross-border payments coupled with the anonymity of cryptocurrency holders could possibly pose significant threats to national security. Before moving on to the next few points, I would like to clarify why I am explaining the various considerations during regulation. To solve a problem, we must first know what the issues are. As I alluded to earlier, every stakeholder in this space must consider the other as a teammate rather than an enemy. And with this being the biggest cryptocurrency event in Africa, as termed by Technext, I see this as the biggest gathering of intelligent cryptocurrency problem solvers in Africa. With this in mind, I hope that these challenges and considerations are not viewed as excuses, but rather as real-world issues waiting to be solved by all in order to forge a positive cryptocurrency and blockchain environment in Nigeria. Another consideration is how cryptocurrencies can affect government revenue sources. It is often said that Nigeria has an expenditure problem, especially when an annual budget is released and analyzed. However, that is not entirely accurate. For example, we tend to analyze that the cost of governance is too high, but also conclude that the salaries of the civil workforce, such as our police, is very low. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are experiencing today is a revenue problem, an issue of how to generate enough revenue to cover our required costs. Currently, a major source of our existing revenues is tax collected through the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS. Therefore, there is a consideration of how cryptocurrencies could aid tax evasion and hamper FIRS' ability to effectively generate the much-needed revenue for the country, especially as this administration is insistently focused on balancing the infrastructural deficit of Nigeria. On one hand, cryptocurrencies and other frontier technologies could lay the golden egg that boosts our economy, while on the other hand, they could discount the government's efforts towards laying the groundwork and infrastructure that will encourage foreign direct investments, FDIs, and invariably boost our economy. Lastly, I would like to touch on a vital challenge in regulating not just the cryptocurrency space, but also fintech and frontier technologies. That challenge is systematic bottlenecks as technology is evolving significantly faster than regulations. This phenomenon is inevitable. Although, if we could update regulations at a much faster rate than is traditionally done, in order to have an updated law once every 6 months, for example, we may be able to address this concern. However, the realities today in government, which is both widely horizontal and deeply vertical, do not allow for this. Simply put, to regulate emerging sectors and technologies, we must first update our systems to be agile enough to iterate on our laws at a faster pace. This seems a good solution on the surface, as suggested by a few, but it may have its drawbacks as constantly changing laws create uncertainty and thus stifle investments. All the challenges and considerations I've put forward to you, our distinguished audience today, are some of the issues we must all collectively solve if we are to turn possibilities into reality. The challenges and considerations should not spell doom for the future of the cryptocurrency space, but rather act as solid doors to promote conversations, brainstorming, and collaboration between all stakeholders, especially between the government and the experts. With this in mind, let us address what government's plan is for forging a way forward. The first item on the agenda in paving a way forward is education. The fact remains that one cannot regulate what they do not understand. To grow the best cassava, one would first need to thoroughly understand what makes it take in order to regulate the environmental conditions to best suit its growth while protecting it from pests. This holds true for not just cryptocurrencies as well, but for fintech, Web 3.0, and other emerging sectors and technologies. The onus is on the side of regulators to constantly educate ourselves in order to make decisions and craft policy from a position of knowledge. This educational process will challenge us to learn and unlearn various concepts and ideologies that may at first seem difficult or threatening to assimilate. The means of education will both be individual and collaborative. It will require constant citizens' engagement. This would bridge the knowledge and trust gap we face today. Engaging with the tech community to share viewpoints on approaches and solutions to various stumbling blocks hampering the existence of a healthy crypto and tech space will be mutually beneficial to us all. By attending events such as this and Punuka's lecture titled FinTech, Crypto, and Frontier Technologies in Trade, Prospects and Legal Challenges last month, we're already making efforts towards this end. In order to forge a way forward, we must address the hard topics in a collaborative manner. Similarly, to Coinbase digital asset policy proposal to the United States SEC, we encourage suggestions and alternative points of view. All this will be in addition to government self-education. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in rounding off my address, I would like to draw your attention to the importance the current administration places on citizens' participation in governance and tracking of service delivery and development in communities. In order to ensure transparency and accountability in the delivery of government's capital projects countrywide, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning is working on an application we have christened the iMac. iMac is a web and mobile application that enables and digitizes the monitoring and evaluation processes of federal capital projects in Nigeria through citizens' engagement. iMac operates on the principle of crowdsourced data and will allow citizens to report on the progress of government projects while aggregating the sentiments being communicated by citizens. The app will enable citizens to track and report on government's projects and programs earmarked for their communities using their mobile phones and also doing so in real time. iMac will soon be launched in beta as it is about 90% developed. We hope to include the tech community in this beta when the time comes to get your honest feedback, which will allow us to iterate towards having the best possible solution for its full launch. This government requires your active participation in the process of tying budget provisions to projects and getting the time value of money earmarked for capital projects, as governance is a collective responsibility by all citizens. The steps taken were geared towards ensuring that our approach to leadership is inclusive and participatory, and that we walk the talk. Finally, let me once again thank Technext, the organizers of this conference, and assure you that this administration will continue to support innovative frameworks that will enhance financial inclusivity. My office is easily reachable to all, and the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning will do all we can in the process of providing the enabling environment and policy direction to strengthen such operations. The future is bright in the crypto and tech space, as just in a few years we have witnessed the emergence of 5 unicorns just from fintech. Working together, we can compound on this progress and develop the environment we collectively envision for the tech and crypto space. While reiterating that the points talked about today should not spell doom, I encourage everyone here to think of ways to solve these issues. However, I am sure between the bright minds we have here, fruitful conversations, knowledge share, and solutions will definitely emerge. Be rest assured that although I'm not there in person, I have requested the organizers to kindly provide me with the key points that will emerge today, while also having my representatives attending virtually and physically. On that account, I look forward to a very productive engagement while enjoying you to participate actively at the conference. I thank you all for your kind attention. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We thank the Minister for that mind-blowing clinical keynote address. I like the part where he spoke about the dissonance between the regulations and the growth of technology, how the regulation is struggling to catch up with technology. I believe that at the end of today, we'll be able to demystify cryptocurrency and then look at the regulatory bit of it, looking at the merits and the demerits, how it helps to enable a seamless navigation process such that the guys at the bottom of the pyramid can understand what cryptocurrency truly means. Once again, let us appreciate the Minister. Can we have the password to the Wi-Fi on the screen once again? Thank you. We'll proceed now to the panel session. I'd like to invite on stage Idris Abubakar. Idris Abubakar is a technology journalist and Africa reporter for Real Rest of the World, a US-based publication covering the impact of technology in emerging markets. He has previously worked at Technext, Tech Cable, Stairs Business, and Quartz Africa. And earlier this year was a venture scout for Season Capital, a Singapore-based venture arm of Credit Season, a $40 billion AUM Japanese credit card company. Please, I'd like that you put your hands together as I invite on stage Idris Abubakar.
Good evening, everybody. It's my first time on stage since the pandemic. Please forgive me if I look anxious. But yeah, thank you so much for being here at conference, Technext premier event. My name is Abubakar Idris, and I currently write for Rest of World as the Africa reporter. Bringing up on stage with me, my panelists, very important folks in the Nigerian financial services community. And the first person I will bring up, please give a warm applause to Mr. Uzoma Dozier. You all know him very much. Mr. Uzoma Dozier is the former MD of Diamond Bank, and he's currently the CEO of Sparkle, a financial services startup. Next up, I'm bringing up on stage virtually Mr. Dixon Unsofo, CEO of Pay. Dixon Unsofo is a serial entrepreneur, business magnate, and investor who has led several organizations on the internet and mobile technology. Dixon is the founder and CEO of Cora, a Techstars Toronto-based fintech company with offices in Lagos, Nairobi, London, Hong Kong, and Toronto. Please give a warm applause for Dixon. My next panelist is Buchi Okoro, CEO and co-founder of Quidax. Buchi Okoro is the CEO and co-founder of Quidax. He has extensive experience in finance and is considered one of the brightest minds in the crypto space. His keen interest in financial services has led to a career of continuously improving and scaling such systems. Thank you, Mr. Buchi, and we'll look forward to having you on stage. Our next panelist is Chimezie Chuta, founder and coordinator, Blockchain Nigeria User Group. Mr. Chimezie Chuta is a technology innovation expert, web application developer, and is an advisory board member of Bantu Blockchain Foundation, House Africa, and also an advisory board member representing West Africa at Kinesis. Please, Mr. Chuta, would love to have you on stage virtually. Our next panelist is Mr. Austin Okere, founder of Computer Warehouse Group, CWG. He's also the head of ASO Leadership Academy, which mentors business and entrepreneurs for geometric growth. Austin has an MBA from IESE Business School and is an entrepreneur in residence at Columbia University, New York. Thank you, Mr. Austin. I'm glad to have you on stage virtually. Our next panelist is Nkem Dilim Uwaje Bego, CEO of Future Soft Resources. Ms. Nkem is a seasoned information technology professional with over 15 years of experience in industry in Africa's largest and emerging market, with a deep purpose of and focusing on the digital divide and transforming Africa by harnessing benefits of digital economy. Thank you, Ms. Nkem. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Without further ado, I'm going to dive straight into our questions because that's why we're here. My first question is this. Cryptocurrencies have been around for over a decade, and they keep on growing. Yet regulators continue to fret over its impact. What exactly are those things that continue to make them worried? And I'm throwing this off first to Buchi.
Thank you, Abubakar. So one of the things that make them worry, I think the first and most important thing is understanding, right? For the regulator first has to understand what they want to regulate, and the position of the regulator, first and foremost, is protection of consumer interest, right? So the regulators are not necessarily bad guys. They want to understand what's going on, and cryptocurrency is new as an asset class, and so things are just growing, and then things are evolving, things are moving very, very, very fast. So they first have to understand what's going on, and then know how they want to bring in the checks they want to bring in to make the environment a lot safer for people. I mean, it doesn't help that cryptocurrency, especially in the beginning, was used for scam and all of that type of stuff, right? So people wanted to collect ransom, and the privacy and untraceability part, right? It doesn't help. It doesn't give the regulator a lot of comfort. But yeah, first thing is the regulator has to understand. Once that's sorted, then they start to put the checks in place to make the environment safe for everyone who wants to participate in the ecosystem.
Very pragmatic answer there, Buchi. I want to make it go round. So, Mr. Uzoma Dozie, can you please just, tell us from your own view, what exactly makes the regulators concerned about cryptocurrencies?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this. Regulators are part of government, and so regulators' responsibility in governing people is, I think, primary one is financial system stability. And so really, when you look at, so when you're introducing a new way of making payments or providing services, you want to make sure, as Uchi has said, that there is the consumer's interest is at heart. But as part of government, you're also looking at a wider range of issues like, anti-money laundering issues, know your customers, funding terrorism, and all that. Now, the only difference, and I don't actually envy, I would not want to be in the seats of regulators right now, because the difference between cryptocurrency is like the dollar cash. When people want to make illicit payments, as you say, they use cash. They don't do electronic transfers. Now, the difference between cash and crypto is that crypto is very volatile. It can move very quickly across borders. It's not physical, and so you have this potential instrument that can be used to do good, but also do a lot of bad things as well, just like the cash. And then it is not under their control. Control is another key part of government. Government needs to have a certain level of control so that they can govern and they can be in control. Or else, if they're not, then you can have different. Then who needs the president, so to speak? And so those are a few of the things that they are worried about. But I think one of the biggest ones, especially as we move into a digital age where most people are not trusting or do not understand, if you introduce or you allow an instrument that they don't understand and a lot of people get burnt, what you will find is that people will now revert back to what they were used to before. Because if I don't trust, or if I've been burnt, and then you now tell me this is a new type of currency, you will have lack of adoption. Today, how many people, I know what financial organizations are doing to try and get people to move from cash to card, or from card to mobile. Now you bring another instrument that really and really is more complex than all those three put together from a bottom of the pyramid adoption.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dozie, for that. I want to throw this also to our panelists who are virtual right now. If anybody wants to say something about this point, the floor is yours. Okay, moving on to the next question. We've talked a lot about consumer protection from the side of the regulator. You've also talked a lot also about their concerns about the stability of cryptocurrency, which is why regulators are, worried. But also, we've seen a lot of volatility with Bitcoin, with Ethereum. And Buchi, we've had this conversation earlier this year. And at the same time, we've seen bad actors take advantage of cryptocurrency, even till today, use it for ransomware attacks, for example. And we've also seen a lack of clarity with stable coins like Tether and Ripple, for example. We are not super clear about how exactly these currencies are, preserving their assets or the results behind them. And then we're seeing things like NFTs, and we're seeing things that we're not super clear about. And how are you guys in the cryptocurrency community thinking about how this space is moving? It's advancing, it's evolving, and it's moving super quickly. And all these transformations we've seen has happened over the last, say, 10 years, where the value of cryptocurrencies have jumped from $0 to over $2 trillion. And you're at the top of it. You're having these conversations. You're seeing these movements. How do you think about it?
So the subject of volatility is very interesting. Is one of the things that makes crypto very, very interesting. And volatility is basically Bitcoin moving up and down, right? And that's what excites everybody or makes people sad. Now, and that volatility is simply because crypto is a new asset class, right? There's a way I like to explain volatility. So if you think about the United States dollar has been there for years, right? Decades. Now, if you think about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is new, is what, 10 years plus. Just stay with me for a second. If you bring a bucket of water, a small bucket of water, and then you put a baby inside, the water in the bucket will rise, right? Now, if I should put myself inside that bucket of water, it will rise a lot more and probably start overflowing. Now, take both of us to a swimming pool. You put the baby inside, there's maybe like small ripples. If I go in, you have like larger ripples. Now, let's bring that to financial markets, US dollars, cryptocurrency. And this is on the subject of volatility. Now, because it's a new asset class, cryptocurrency is that small bucket, right? The entire cryptocurrency market cap is somewhere around 2-point-something trillion, right? Meanwhile, the currencies market trade over $4 trillion every day, right? Not cash, but trade over $4 trillion. So the size makes the volatility very, very high. So if Elon Musk is coming to buy crypto, he's basically me coming into the small bucket of water, and then he moves things up and down. I mean, there are a little of other factors here and there that allows volatility to happen, right? But there's volatility, there's scams. Scam is a very interesting subject because even when you're talking about people using it to collect ransom, thieves using it, one of the first use cases for the motor vehicle was as getaway vehicles for robbers, right? So it makes sense for people doing bad stuff to always adopt new technologies that can always give them the edge, right? And cryptocurrency represented that. But beyond that, there's a lot that has been happening in crypto. There's a lot that's evolving. I mean, like, I'm even having to learn on a daily basis about like what's happening, right? So right now, NFTs and the metaverse are everything right now. So everyone is talking about it. And 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, like you wouldn't hear, I mean, the concept has always been there. If you read, some of the early cryptocurrency books, Blockchain Revolution by Alex and Don Tapscott, you would have seen stuff around that. But like, it's just coming to the fore today. And so we have to learn constantly about what's going on in the space, learn about what's going on with NFTs, learn about what's going on with the metaverse. But all of the innovation has actually been interesting. And I think personally that is taking humanity and the world into a place that will be a lot more grateful for. It's taking Africa specifically to a place where you can move value from point A to point B easily. A lot of stuff that wasn't available to us. I'm trying to buy a game on Sony, right? PlayStation now. My cards are not working. All of my cards are not working because it's $150, right? But right now I'm able to use Bitcoin, right? I'm able to use USDT. Now the concerns around, the backing of USDT, the mechanics around that, that is why the regulators are saying, hey, come guys, what's happening, right? That is why we have regulators there. And with time, as the asset class matures, let me shock you, sir. The US dollars we know today wasn't always US dollars. Like, it wasn't always like this. There were different exchange rate values for US dollars inside the United States, right? Way back in the beginning days. So as the asset class grows, as the asset class matures, people will start to understand what's going on. There will be a lot more checks and balances in place that will make it a lot more sane. The volatility will reduce significantly over time, right? But yeah, things are getting better.
We hope that happens soon. I'm going to ask Dixon Onsofo from Korapi to speak on this. Mr. Dixon, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Okay. I didn't hear that. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
Can you hear me clearly? Okay. It seems we're having a technical difficulty. Are you good to go?
I think I'm good to go. So,
Okay. In the meantime, I will ask Mr. Chimezie Chuta to speak first. Thank you, Mr. Chimezie. Hello, Mr. Chimezie, can you hear me? Okay, good to see you back, Dixon. Are you good to go? Quickly to my next question. And this question, I'm directing it at the folks who have been in the traditional finance space for a long time, way before the cryptocurrency space came out. And Mr. Uzoma Dozie, I'm going to ask you first, and then I'm going to move to Mr. Austin Okere. Now, my question is this. You've all operated businesses in tightly regulated spaces for a long time. And how do you think about cryptocurrency regulation compared to any other business, like, say, payments, for example? What do you think is fundamentally different from how you would think about regulating, say, a POS terminal operator or a payment gateway operator or a bank? What exactly is that thing that you would think about differently when it comes to cryptocurrency?
Well, I'm not an expert in regulation, but I mean, the fundamental difference between regulating cryptocurrency and, for me, if I was regulator, and any other instrument is, one, I have control over the other instruments versus cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not owned, it's not fiat. And so you can't regulate really, there's an extent as to how much regulation you can put on it, which is difficult because regardless of the regulation, people are still going to use it. No one can stop me from buying cryptocurrency today. Nobody can stop me. The only way you can stop me is, one, by limiting how I acquire it or using your own fiat currency to do that. And so if technically, I'm just saying, technically, not that I do it. Technically, if I want to buy cryptocurrency today and you say I can't use Naira, you can acquire other currencies and do it. But I believe, with this issue of cryptocurrency and fiat currency, I think there's a lot of much ado about nothing. Because when you look at the number of people that can actually use cryptocurrency, the use cases for the utilization of cryptocurrency is a very tiny percent of this market, right? While the use case for other instruments that we have not even scaled. The problem with cryptocurrency, you can't scale it. Because to scale cryptocurrency, you need a device. You need infrastructure. You need education, a deep level of education to understand. Because really and truly, and then you also need speed. Cryptocurrency is not the fastest payment solution, but it has fantastic use cases from a business-to-business perspective. The blockchain has a fantastic infrastructure enabling you to even improve old payment systems using that backbone infrastructure. And so I think the biggest concern is, one, control, two, financial system stability, and three, and control is from the control of, we want to know, as a government, I want to know how much people are spending. I want to know, I want to be able to come out with economic figures that will help me plan. With cryptocurrency, you can't, right? Without having an agreement, we can't. And so I think one of the ways that, and really central bank, especially, I'm talking about Nigeria, one of the ways that they have started to try to understand is to come out with the e-currency, e-Naira. And people are now saying, oh, this is not enough. We want full control. We want full autonomy. But they have to start from somewhere. Regulation is about meeting the innovators halfway. Okay, let me launch this, let me learn this, and let me even use this to get people to make payments. And let me and the good thing about it is, with your central bank backing or even making this step forward, you're actually encouraging digital liquidity. And so the e-Naira is one of the many ways to pay and a very, very small part. It's not even going to compete with card payments, which has even been difficult to achieve at the moment. So I believe it's the challenge is control. The challenge is also education and learning. And even I'm still trying to learn every day. And the problem with it is that the innovation now is much faster than you can regulate. So 1 minute you're telling me about cryptocurrency. Next minute I'm trying to learn about decentralized financing. Next minute I'm trying to learn about a few of the things that Bushi has mentioned here that I put down to go and learn, because even I, as somebody who's in the financial system, is having a challenge to actually absorb and find how I can use it, not to talk of the regulator.
Thank you so much for that. I was very, very interested. Mr. Austin, okay, I want to throw the same question to you. Like, when you think about cryptocurrency regulation, and when you think about, in the industries that you've played in over the last couple of decades, how do you think about regulation for cryptocurrency? What do you think is different fundamentally between the two industries?
I think there's smart regulation and there is dumb regulation. Now, dumb regulation happens when there's no sufficient knowledge, and regulation is done out of fear than out of knowledge, and all in the name of limiting risk and protecting consumers. In dumb regulation, if you don't understand something, you shut it down. Now, smart regulation says, well, we can have a sandbox and let us understand how this thing even works. And if we are comfortable with it in the beta state, in a controlled environment, then we can make it widely available to the consumers. So I'm very happy about the launch of the e-Naira, because regulators will begin to understand the terrain of digital assets, such as Bitcoin, and decide what aspects of it will be helpful or useful to the citizens at minimum risk. In any investment, there is risk anyway. There's no risk-free investment. Apart from that, nature abhors a vacuum. So it's not that regulation does not exist or don't know what they're doing. Banks are being regulated very effectively. Technology companies are being regulated to the extent that the regulator understands. So if you talk about hardware manufacturers or people that manufacture cars or people that manufacture electrical goods, you'll see a sign on it, CE, which means it has passed the electrical standards. The same with banks. In the case of crypto, the vacuum is who actually is doing the regulation. If you take M-Pesa, for instance, the biggest bank in Kenya now is probably M-Pesa, regulated not by the Central Bank of Kenya, but by the Communications Commission of Kenya, because it tilts more towards technology and telecoms than to banking. And no central bank wants to be a limbo where assets are being used as currency outside of their purview. And as the Minister of State said, is it that we then require a collaboration between the regulators to come up with an individual separate regulatory body for this space, maybe more young demography that can make the rules as the technology changes, because the technology changes so fast that the standard traditional regulation finds it difficult to catch up. But having said that, whether crypto is going to be sustainable, I mean, it's today at 1% of currency is too low. Adoption at 13.5% is what will ensure that you are past the threshold. It's about whether people find use for it. If people find use for it, you can ban it all you want, and so for me, this space is a digital space. It's like a train in which the train driver are those digital technology disruptors, and the people are the people that need convenience, they need value, they need optimum pricing. The regulator can decide to learn and come on the journey and enjoy the ride, or stay on the platform and be left behind, or stand in front of the train and the train will crush him. So water will always find this level. The question is, how soon?
Right. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Austin. Yeah. I'm throwing the same question at Nkem Dilim, because you guys at FutureSoft, you think deeply about this stuff and how to implement it for clients, how to think about, the future of technology and how to implement it. So how would you think about regulation, and how would you advise people to think about it?
Was that question for me?
No, for Mr. Nkem Dilim.
About regulation. Personally, I think that you have to have the confidence.
No, Mr. Austin, it's not for you. I think we're having some technical challenges there. He couldn't hear me. Okay. I'm going to move on quickly to my next question. Thankfully, Mr. Uzoma Dozie has brought up the question of the in-era. Mr. Austin has also reiterated it. And now I'm forced to talk about it slightly, but I won't mention it for this question. But in the cryptoverse, in the cryptocurrency universe generally, it is basically upending finance. It is changing everything that we know about financial services, how to go about it, who should build it, from DeFi to NFTs to remittances. Everything has changed. And when everybody is thinking about these things, we know that they are looking indirectly at the incumbents, and they're telling them that things are going to change and you guys are going to be out of business at some point. Now, for you guys at Sparkle, at CWG, at Corapi, I'm curious how you think about these things, knowing fully well the impact it could have on your businesses. I'm directing that first to Mr. Uzoma Dozie.
No, I said, like I said, as a service, I'm a financial service provider. People come to me, or people keep their assets or their value with me because trust. And I've shown a level of trust. I have a license. I have trusted partners. I've come together with people so that people feel safe to keep their valuables with me, and then access it. You can access it and use it. So what I do, I provide custodial services. I also provide a platform in which they can now access and utilize it. Now, from Sparkle's perspective, I don't know what money is going to be, what type of money is going to be used in the next 20 years. I don't know whether it's going to be the Naira, because then again, it's the exchange of value. And so if people, so for Sparkle, we want to provide we're providing a platform in which people can use different currencies that are allowable by the license that we have. And so if my license owner says you can trade in all these currencies, so be it, our platform should be able to do that. But I believe where the world is going to is, it's not a question of cryptocurrencies or the fiat currency. It's a question of being able, technology allowing you to monetize your own value. And so we're going back to the era of trade by barter, where I will exchange my loyalty points or whatever for a certain goods and services. And so that's because today, people wake up and create different coins. You have Doge coins, you have crypto coins, you have all kinds of coins. Very soon, this is being done at the warehouse or corporate level. Very soon, just like you can do 3D printing, you can wake up today and just say, Uzoma has excellent value. I'm going to trade my value for this person. And no one's going to be able to stop you. As long as there's a ready buyer, a ready market, and a medium that can be done, it will be done. So for us at Sparkle, it's a question of what do you want to do today, and how can we help you to get there, and what, within the regulation and the legislation and the license that we have, how can we help you to achieve that? On our part, we hope that as time goes on, as regulators and legislators understand the need for us to be competitive perspective, not just from a Nigerian perspective, but from an African and global perspective, there will be more alignment between the private sector, the regulators, because beyond regulators even, you have your legislators. And if you don't create those enabling laws, so I think the problem, there's one level of regulation, but at the legislative level, if you don't unlock some laws or change some laws, right, regulation can't help you. And so there is a regulation today that insists that even if I open an account, a bank account in 5 different places, those same banks must go and do a address verification, even though if one bank has done it. So you imagine the cost to the system, and imagine the unfair advantage to that the people who are in the business of doing verification, because they already have that database, but they're now using it to earn income they don't, and that's because legislation hasn't been changed. So there's also regulation, but legislation. Legislation is what is going to unlock and allow us to scale these things and bring the cost down to the common man.
Since Buchi has something to say, he's saying into the metaverse.
Sir, please could you repeat the question?
So the question that I asked is, how do you guys at traditional financial services see how cryptocurrencies are upending the traditional finance space, and how do you think about it from your own cubicles, from your own spaces, from your own communities? Like, what exactly are these things that are going to replace how traditional money works?
So the subject of upending traditional financial services is quite interesting. And interesting because, personally, right, I never really thought or think that, Bitcoin in Nigeria will replace Naira, right? I believe that it's supposed to be a collaborative system where, crypto is working with local currencies to make life better for everybody, right? There is no situation where talking over WhatsApp or even video calling will replace those hugs, handshake, the physical interaction. So I think it's supposed to be a collaborative system. But with where innovation is going, I think things like settlements, right? Crypto helps with settlements, makes things a bit faster, especially cross-border. So I was speaking with somebody a few weeks ago, and then he was asking me, I was in Rwanda, and I needed to get money in Rwanda. So I'm Nigerian, I have Naira, I need to get money in Rwanda. How exactly can I get money in Rwanda? And there's a lot that crypto can do to help that flow, right? Even beyond that, there is, talking about the metaverse, I spent some time on the metaverse this afternoon, and then I was trying to buy some land, right? I think for the future, right, a lot of engagement that will happen in the future, a lot of it will happen on the metaverse. All of the stuff we do on Twitter, all of the stuff we do on Instagram, I believe that a lot of that will happen on the metaverse, and then to change the way we interact socially, it will change the way we shop, it will change the way we even talk to people on a day-to-day basis, right? The way we live our lives. So with cryptocurrencies and blockchain, what cryptocurrency has done is that foundational blockchain stuff, right? The blockchain system as a foundation has opened the door for a lot of things, right? So ownership of digital assets, all of that stuff has been built on the blockchain. So it goes beyond financial services, right? It goes further into how we interact, how we live our lives, how we move value, right? Not just money, but value from point A to point B. I can send a picture from myself to you, and then you know that you own the picture forever because it's an NFT, because it's on the blockchain, right? So I think it's going to help make a lot of things with financial services easier. I think it is one of the biggest innovations in finance in the past 100 years, right? But not upending, but like making things better, facilitating things, making things a lot smoother. I think crypto is going to do a lot of that.
Right. Throwing the same question to Dixon. Dixon, can you hear me? Okay, great. You're back. Slight lag, but you're back. The same question. using the keyword upending here, do you think cryptocurrencies are going to upend how we think about traditional finance?
Can you hear me, Idris?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Idris?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can. Oh, okay, you didn't get the question. So we're talking about everything that has to do with cryptocurrency and how much is going to change the financial services system. And we're speaking particularly using the keyword upending. And we just want to get your take on how you think whether or not cryptocurrency is going to radically change how we think about these things.
I think I'm more tilted towards Uzoma Dozier's thought pattern in the sense that the banks are never going to go away, mostly because of one single factor, which is called control. Regulators always want to be able to control, and I understand with them. I would have sleepless nights if I was the regulator, especially in Nigeria, where people love cryptocurrency. I think Nigeria is ranked fourth highest in cryptocurrency around the world. But however, I think it's very important that the incumbents understand that there's always a paradigm shift. It happens roughly every 15 to 20 years. And we've seen this happen to Nokia. It's happened to BlackBerry. They didn't catch up with the change. And so you hear things like metaverse, you hear things like DeFi, you hear things like, cross-border payments. And people seem to lose the core value which Bitcoin brings. People more look at it more as a store of value where you invest in and it goes high and it comes down. But that's not the true value of Bitcoin, right? The true value of Bitcoin or the major cryptocurrencies is the ability for us to exchange value across border, without a centralized party. And when you look at concepts like that, it could totally change the way the payment infrastructure of the future would be, right? The likes of MasterCard, Visa, Amex could totally be replaced by blockchain switches that automate instant settlement. And I think that's where I see the big change coming from, as opposed to like having, people who live on less than $2, opening crypto wallets, right? So I strongly believe that the payment infrastructure of the future will be changed. The banking infrastructure, which has most likely been running on technology of the 50s or the 40s, will be radically changed. And so we often tend to overestimate the power of the blockchain or cryptocurrency in the short run, and we underestimate the power on the long run. Everybody's like, Bitcoin replaced Naira, replaced everything in like 5 years, 10 years. It's impossible. It's not going to happen, right? And that's why I say I kind of like tend towards Uzoma's ideology of how money would be. But however, the payment infrastructure, the banking infrastructure will totally be overhauled in maybe a 20, 30, 40 years time. And so companies like ours, Corpay, and some other smart companies are carefully looking at how we can stay relevant when this market changes. Facebook changed their name to Meta. This is a company worth almost $1 trillion, so they're not stupid. Like I will happily copy him and be stupid with him if he's stupid, right? So there's something there. There's something there, and it's something that the traditional people, like traditional fintechs, traditional banks, or traditional people in the payment industry need to attend to, because it's going to happen. It might not just happen now. It's overestimated in the short run, but highly underestimated in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dixon. I have a very curious question, and you probably have been thinking about this thing all year long. The cryptocurrency ban in Nigeria happened in February, but it still feels like a fairly long time because of how things have changed in Nigeria. And it's a very nervy topic. I get it. Everybody in the cryptocurrency space is worried about it. They don't want to talk too much about regulation. But I want to talk about the impact it had on your customers. I'm talking specifically to Chimeze Chuta and Buchi Okoro for this question. And I want to first know, how did it change your engagements with the government? And second, how did it impact your users after the ban? So which is going first?
How did it change our engagement with the government, and how did it impact our users? Okay, I'll start from our users. So for our users, it was a tough, first. Okay, it was a tough first couple of months because then they had, no way to withdraw or no way to deposit, right? Today, to a large extent, to a very large extent, we don't really, do crypto in Nigeria. Yeah. But yeah, so like for the first couple of months, it was a nightmare for our users. It was very tough, right? And even in that period, I think it was a bit of a disservice because that time in crypto was one of the greatest, wealth creation opportunities in the lifetime of crypto. So I think it was unfair. But right now, our customers are starting to adjust. They're starting to, find out new ways of buying and selling crypto. I think the impact of Nigeria in crypto still hasn't dropped one bit, right? So it probably went like this, and then it went back to the level. Like, so things on a general scale, the ecosystem, I think the ecosystem is still going very strong. Now, how did it change our engagement with the regulators? I think that's the most interesting part, right? So we've always been very aware of the regulatory risk, right? Every time you're talking to anybody anywhere, they're asking you, the first question is, what about the regulatory risk? And so we had always been in these conversations, right? We're listening to what everyone is doing, but particularly we're engaging with SEC because SEC was supposed to be the regulator regulating, crypto, but then CBN showed up from nowhere to say, yeah, banks. And funny story, CBN didn't say we shouldn't do crypto again. CBN just told the people they are regulating, hey, don't touch crypto. And then they have the power to do that. They have the right to do that. And so it has maybe made us a lot more, it has brought us a lot closer to these regulators, and then even wanting to have the conversations with regulators to say what's going on, what can we do to help reduce your stress, what can we do to help you understand what's going on in that space. So I think all of the conversations have been happening in the background and for a while. So I think it increased the level of engagement way more than before, and it's been a good one for both parties, I think.
Thank you so much, Buchi. Another question is hard, but that's why I asked it. I have a question, same question for Chimizi Chuta. I don't know if it's still on the call. Okay, can't see him on the screen. All right. Moving on to the next question. In October, time is fast spent, but in October, we all know what happened. Nigerian government introduced the e-Naira, the central bank digital currency for Nigeria. And it came as a surprise, at least when the announcement first came out, that this thing was going to be a real thing. A couple of months before then. And a few panelists have already spoken about it. They've mentioned it, the e-Naira, and what impact it could have. I'm going to start off with Mr. Nkem Dilim from Futuresoft. I want to get your thoughts about the e-Naira in Nigeria. First, how do you see it when the central bank mentioned it, that it was putting this in the works and is going to roll this out eventually? And then the speed with which this happened, and now we have an e-Naira, we have an e-Naira wallet, and we're able to walk around with this central bank digital currency. How do you think about it and its rollout?
Much. So I think it's not something that actually happened overnight. I think this has been in the pipeline for a while, and there have been conversations about actually creating the CBDC for at least a year. There have been several different conferences where this was discussed in collaboration with stakeholders from the central bank and stakeholders from the ecosystem as well. So I think that, this has been sort of like a long way coming, and And I think that we just have to see how it evolves, right? And, a lot of people sort of look at it as, oh, this might also displace the banks, but what we're actually seeing is that the banks still play a very significant role in the e-naira space, and the regulator is definitely ensuring that the banks are protected. And I think we're going to see a lot more development in the next year, and we're going to see how this really pans out and how the adoption rate goes as well. I think, especially when it was launched, there were a lot of technical difficulties, like removal from the Play Store and things like that, and people having issues with the wallet not functioning, or when they try and sign up, the sign-up's not working, and the customer service not being great around it. These type of hiccups, I think, are common with new sort of services that are being launched. I think we're going to see iterations of the app. I think we're going to also see, sort of changes that are going to be created. And yeah, I think it's an interesting space to watch, especially to sort of see how the adoption works. My bet is that there's going to be a lot of government services that will start using the e-naira in order to drive adoption. And yeah, I think it's just, how do we engage with this CBDC, and how do we, sort of, what can we do with it? I think is for me, the biggest question, right? Are we going to be able to swap it against other CBDCs in other countries? Because especially for Pan-African trade, that would be a really big step in the right direction. Especially with the African Free Trade Agreement. So I think there's a lot of benefits that could potentially come from the CBDC, but there has to be a lot of collaboration. I think there also has to be a lot of engagement with the ecosystem in order to actually drive adoption. And I think that there has to be ways to actually use it that, can only be driven by making sure that all government services are payable through the e-naira, for example, right? Or when you want to make Pan-African payments, that you can use the e-naira and sort of swap it with a South African CBDC, for example, right? And I think a lot of the banks are sort of positioning to be able to be clearinghouses and custody providers for those type of services. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. We're out of time, but I have one question for each speaker. The same question, rather, for each speaker. I want to get your thoughts on this question. You've all talked about the vision and the understanding from different viewpoints about whether or not the transformation that cryptocurrency is going to bring is going to be soon, or it's going to take a while to manifest. And I want to get a final quote, maybe 60 seconds tops, each person, about what you think is the takeaway for each person here about regulation and the cryptocurrency vision. What would you say is that thing regulators need to keep in mind and innovators themselves need to keep in mind, both in the traditional space and in the cryptocurrency community? 60 seconds max, each person. I'll start with you, Buchi.
So for regulators and the innovators, I think that regulators have to do their jobs, right? Ultimately, everyone has a job to do, and regulators have to do their jobs. So I would say the regulators should, actually understand what's going on in the space and help to create the regulations that help innovations. And then for the innovators, as Mr. Austin said, water would always find its level, right? Someone defined entrepreneurship as looking for opportunities amidst obstacles and challenges. So our responsibility to our customers is to always find solutions that help them do what they want to do. And that's your responsibility. So whatever the case is, I think you always have to put your eye on that goal, on making things better, making things right for your customers. So at the end of the day, I just think everyone should do their jobs.
Thank you so much. Mr. Uzomadozi.
Well, in a nutshell, I'm a businessman. As a businessman, I have to understand who my stakeholders are, and I have to really sell my solution to them. So For my clients to use my solution, I have to sell it to them. For me to be allowed to do business, I have to sell my proposition to regulator, or to my legislator, or to my suppliers. And so, like, so regulators will do their job, but in the end, the onus is on us to find a way to get a middle ground for them to actually understand. And so, like for most people, for my clients, if they don't understand my solution, that means I'm not selling it well, or I'm not communicating well. So part of product development is not just coming out with a product and say, hey, here's magic. Part of product development is the education. How is it going to receive? What's the substitution? And I think that's what we're beginning to try and learn. And so with the regulator coming out with the e-Naira, with also innovators now beginning to understand that this, roadblock. If this guy doesn't say yes, this is not going to move, no one's going to use it. And I think that's the way it's going to play out going forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ozoma Dozier. Mr. Austin O'Kerry.
Yeah, I think we have to be clear when people say that the banks will never go away. Banking will change. Banks can decide to stay the same, in the same way that communication has changed. The post office was the most important institution when we were growing up. But ask yourself, when was the last time you went to the post office? The post office has not died. It's just that there are different ways of communication: Snapchat, WhatsApp, and the like, email. And the same may happen in banking. What I think that we all need to do, including the regulators, the government, all of us, we have to look at a holistic way of reimagining currency. As it is today, we've been using currency since Julius Caesar's head was on the Roman coin. And this is a long time. I think that we've gotten way beyond where there needs to be some innovation in currency. It's complicated to do business in the currency we have today. It takes a long time, it's expensive, and it's not optimal. Yes, P2P will bring those optimal and cost saving and speed. But at the end of the day, probably there needs to be something done on the risk side as well as the KYC side and the travel rule. The knee-jerk reaction of banning by governments, not just in Nigeria, but in China, in India, and so on, I don't think is the right solution. I think the right solution is all parties come together and let's reimagine this whole space of currency. Yes, currency is a special asset class. You can't use currency like gold. You can't break gold into pieces and pay people. But the currency that we know today is totally outlived its sell-by date. This is my take.
Thank you so much, Mr. Austin. Next, Mr. Dixon Unsofo.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be that constant friction between the regulators and and the innovators, and I think it's very important that both that come to the table have an open mind. For the early innovators that always feel like, let's go to the moon, we're going to build XYZ and it's going to displace the banks. I think it's very important to understand there have been structures in place that have guaranteed consumer security, anti-money laundering laws, counter-finance of terrorism, and those things need to be understood, and those are the things that the regulators are trying to protect. And also for the regulators, we also need to understand, or they need to understand, that technology is changing, time is changing, and sometimes we could be stuck in stifling growth that we could eventually make our people lose out on the wealth being created across the globe, or being the laggards in the change that is going on in the technology revolution. And I think that's majorly it for the traditional finance people, like the banks or like the fintechs, like we say. It's very correct what Mr. Austin O'Kerry is saying. Money will change just the same way you mentioned the telecoms changed, post office changed, and that's the same way money will change. However, I don't see it happening in the near future. But then in the long term, I think what that money can look like in the long term is highly underestimated. Right? And I think that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Finally, Ms. Nkemdilim Uwajeb Bego.
Thank you. So I think that, like any type of innovation adoption, we're going to see the consumer behavior actually drive regulation. And I think this is happening across ocean and sort of technology. And I think what we're going to see is that because consumers are adopting these technologies, and I mean in Nigeria, we've definitely seen that in the crypto space, and it's continuing to grow as well, whether there is a ban or not. And I think that the regulators need to actually start accepting that, right, and understand that you have to be proactive with your regulation and not reactive. Because every time that you're reactive, you're already, sort of years behind, and there's new technology that's going to exist in the next 5 minutes, right? So I think there has to be engagement of stakeholders. I think there has to be a real sort of deep dive into case studies and use cases to really look at what are the opportunities for us here, right? I think especially as an emerging economy, we really need to look at what are the opportunities for our nation, what are the opportunities for the young people that are already using these technologies and who are already really deep into NFTs and DeFi and all of these things, right? And how do we harness that for socioeconomic development? I think that there could be a really, sort of great strategy around using the crypto space and blockchain to actually start building our own technology here. And we're seeing that there's a lot of also push for education of any type of Web 3.0 development, right? And a lot of that money that is being pushed into that education is coming to Nigeria, right? So how do we then also make sure that there's no brain drain, right? How do we make sure that these young people that are receiving these, sort of training courses from the Cardano side of the country, right? How do we make sure these resources for our country, right? So I think that we have to think about how do we create a sandbox where, all the different players within the space can interact and sort of test services with oversight of regulators, and how do we bring everyone to the table to really talk about what is the future, how do we engage, and what are the opportunities? Because I think that we are doing ourselves a disservice if we're not engaging and not really harnessing the opportunities that this technology brings.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, my panelists. Finally, I have just been informed by the organizers that I have 10 minutes max to take 4 questions from the guests. If anybody has any questions, please signify, and the mic will be handed over to you. Okay, can see somebody there, somebody here also. You can walk down to the stage, I believe.
Hello.
Good day, everyone. So my question is, that they say that Bitcoin can't be really tracked, but if you check on Etherscan or all the sister websites, you can see that all the transactions from the websites or what all the transactions are public. So when they say it can't be scanned, that is not tracked, I don't understand what that means.
Looking at me and I'm not sure I'm the one. But thank you, that's a very smart question. Anybody wants to take it?
Or maybe should we take all the questions?
Okay.
So that we can...
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, speakers. It was nice to hear you guys speak. Quite insightful. My name is Ugochukwu Haniko. I'm from uVerify. We offer KYC services. So for us, our concern about Bitcoin has to do with regulation. I know for certain financial industries, they have different bases of compliance. I know for insurance, they have certain things they will ask you to bring. For the banks, they have certain things they will ask you to bring. For microfinance, for people that trade in securities, that's the SEC, and all that. So, we know for Bitcoin, there's always this assumption that is like it's a ghost that is trading Bitcoin. We don't know who is involved, and we don't know what they are doing with it. We don't know what kind of exchange is being done for it. So basically, I think that triggered the government and all that, and that's why we've had this slow pace. And from all your discussions, we all agreed that the government is way behind the technology in catching up with regulations. Now for us, we believe there are so many little rules and laws and regulations from every industry that can be put together to regulate the crypto trade industry. So I know some of you are from the banks, so I would like you to highlight some of those simple things, because we know for certain banks, things like identity checks are compulsory. If you are a company, they ask you to go and do search. That has to do with your CAC, where they try to know who your directors are and all that. And in as much as the government wants to regulate, let's not forget that the government also wants to make money. I know our minister didn't say that, but they want it to be taxable. They want it to be taxable where they can get some kind of money from it, because for almost every transaction we do in Nigeria now, the government picks something from it. Whether it's 50 kobo, it's 1 naira, it is 10 naira. For almost every transaction, they pick from it. So for me, my question is this. We want to know what are those simple things that can be put in place, to identify the players, which are part of the regulation which government will put in place in this industry, from identity checks to CAC to address verification to all that, and not limiting it to like maybe...
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So basically, that's just it for me. I would like to know some of those examples for people like Doze that are from the banks and all that. So I want to know...
Thank you. Please remember to keep it short. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tayo Lutime. I have 2 questions here. And
one? You can only take one.
It is not going to take time. Well, the first one is about the Bitcoin as a whole. Okay, we know that the cryptocurrency has been created to exchange value across border. But then I am sure we also know that, okay, Bitcoin rewards people who keep it. At least Bitcoin rewards people who keep it more and not people who actually trade it for, and not people who actually use it for what it was actually created for, that is to trade and make finances better. So is there anything that can be done to actually make Bitcoin reward those who are actually using it for what it has been created for more?
Our time is up, so sorry, you can't ask any more questions. Thank you, so sorry. To our speakers, I'm going to bring it down to just you and Buchi and Mr. Ozo Madozi. Anybody wants to take the first question?
Okay, let me take the first question. So that's actually a very smart and interesting question. Bitcoin is not anonymous. Bitcoin is pseudonymous, which means when you track patterns on Etherscan or on the Blockchain Explorer, you can actually see every transaction that's happened on the blockchain up until the very, very first production of that Bitcoin, right? So if anything, if you asked me, I think Bitcoin is a lot more traceable and trackable than cash, right? The Naira. So that's on the first question. Now, on the second question, not the one about banks. I think Uzoma is in a better place to answer that. The last question on Bitcoin rewarding people who use it for the intention. I mean, it really depends on what your intention is. So in 2019, I had a conversation with a customer, right? And the customer was trying to move money from Ghana to Nigeria, and then he had to use script. He was in Ghana. His family was in Nigeria. Getting money to his family that day was the difference between them going hungry and them eating. And it was in the night, by 9 p.m. A bank would never have done that for him. He used Bitcoin that day. Now, if you ask this guy, he might not say Bitcoin didn't reward him because he didn't hold Bitcoin. It depends on what your purpose is. So Bitcoin rewards you based on your purpose and what you're trying to get done. Thank you.
Quickly, quickly, in any financial system, whether it's digital, physical, with crypto or not, that system is as strong as its weakest link. So it means that every node in that has to do its due diligence, its KYC, and all that. I think one of the things that people are scared, or especially when it comes to regulators or people who are policing, is that just like today, before, for me to steal money from somebody's ₦1 million in cash, I have to go to a bank, a vault, shoot a lot of people, cause damage, and just all that work for ₦1 million. In a split second of the time now, you can go away with 100 million. Now, it's great when it's just your own currency. But the thing about cryptocurrency, the good thing about cryptocurrency is the bad thing. I can take 100 million naira today, I can convert it to cryptocurrency, and it can leave the country in 2 minutes. And so no EFCC, no NFIU can actually stop it. So that is where the concern is. So as long as just as it is good for cross-border movement for the good things, it's good for the cross-border movement for the bad things. So in the end, just like any financial system, if there's one weak point, it will be found out and it will be exploited. So if you're in any business, it is important that you have to understand who your stakeholders are and what their security systems are. Because if it's vulnerable, they will use it to get into your own system eventually.
Thank you so much. And with that, we've come to the end of this panel. Thank you so much, my co-panelists. I really enjoyed this session, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
Can we appreciate the panelists once more, please? This session consumed a lot of time, so we'll try to be as concise and precise as possible. For the next presentation, I'd like to invite Sulaiman Mohammed. Sulaiman Mohammed is Partnership and Marketing Director, Kurobi. Sulaiman is a leading marketing expert with 10 years of experience. He has deep experience in networking in the crypto industry and has a unique talent for forging tight communities around new projects. He's a results-driven professional with repeated success in forging alliances and partnerships. I would crave your indulgence to please put your hands together as we invite on stage Sulaiman Mohammed, Marketing Director at Kurobi.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the mystery of life is not a problem to solve, but a reality to experience, a process that cannot be understood by stopping it. We must move with the flow of the process. We must join it. We must flow with it. I begin my speech today with this quote from Frank Herbert's Dune novel, an apt metaphor for the reality of technology in Nigeria. The times we found ourselves in, the opportunity technology presents, and the hurdles it must pass to take us all to the promised land. The past 12 months have been an uphill battle for blockchain and cryptocurrency in particular here in Nigeria. Like every new technology at every epoch of history, cryptocurrency is grossly misunderstood, feared, and unappreciated by the status quo. But we must not let fear and mistrust of that which is new dictate our trajectory into the future. I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that crypto to every lover, citizen, or resident of Nigeria is a friend, not the enemy. Hear me out. Let's begin with the obvious fact that the world has turned its back on oil, irreversibly so. from China to EU to the United States. The world's biggest economies have concrete plans of phasing out fossil oil in the next 2 to 3 decades. As our major source of revenue, the oil market is in its last days, and Nigeria and other oil-dependent countries need to find an exit strategy now. If we are to take a cue from anywhere, the world's largest oil producer, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a clear example. The country with the largest known deposit of oil does not see the resources as safe insurance for its future. It looks to the UAE as a great model of the future and is now fast building infrastructure, cities, and entire new economies around technology and innovation. The world's most valuable companies are now the Teslas, the Amazons, and the Apples, not the Chevrons and Mobiles. The world has changed, and every country that hopes to have a prosperous future must change with it. Cryptocurrencies have been exceptionally popular in Nigeria, and there's a good reason for that. We have an overwhelmingly young population, a treasure trove of human resources that is agile, tech-savvy, and forward-thinking. As the world's economy morphs into a creative one, Nigeria is in a prime position to be a leader in multiple fields, a trendsetter that can be the producer rather than the consumer of innovation. Crypto and the creative gig economy are two fields that have been making tremendous progress despite the challenges of the Nigerian reality. I believe stakeholders and regulators should only amplify this drive rather than truncate it. At Kurobi, we have created an amazing solution that fits perfectly within the creative crypto space. Kurobi is a platform that brings a global earning opportunity to the palms of Nigerians. If you have a talent at something, or you're an expert coach, a marketer, a motivator, or you're a professional such as a doctor or a therapist, Kurobi brings you face-to-face with a global audience of people looking for an exact set of skills. We are allowing people to make the most of their time by making money from it. If you're a reality star with a religious following, you no longer have to wait for the next endorsement deal to put food on the table. With Kurobi, you can monetize your audience and have them pay for exclusive one-on-one video calls with you. Or you can host as many as 1 million people on a single virtual event, making money from each attendee. Payments are made easily through crypto with fiat integration in dozens of countries at the moment. Kurobi is also pioneering a new facet of digital ticketing, an NFT twist, known as NFT Time Pass. We envision a future where young Nigerians everywhere can leverage their talents and give value to people around the world while earning on their own terms. Kurobi is about to make the future a reality. The days when African countries rely on remittances from the diaspora are over. We have talented individuals with unique offerings that can generate wealth and circulate money in the right here in the motherland. At the pace things are going, Nigeria needs an urgent wake-up call to sink to the reality of its situation. Blockchain and crypto bring simplicity, speed, and hassle-free transfer of value between people. Banning technology has never brought progress or success to any nation in history. It is by analyzing, understanding, and appreciating technology that most powerful civilizations are built. We might have missed the last great technological leap with the Industrial Revolution, but with a relatively low barrier to contend with, we are confident that Nigeria can be a leader in the world's next great economic wave, and crypto only aid it in this endeavor. Lastly, I call on the authorities to shy away from the sensationalization of crypto as a technology. As Frank Herbert writes, to understand the future that awaits us as a people, we must endeavor to understand and flow with the process. Technology, and crypto especially, is the process that can safeguard the future of Nigeria's economy. At Kurobi, our doors are always open to talk with partners, potential investors, experts, and authorities to forge a clear and unhindered future for the creative economy and the crypto reality. We hope that 2022 will become a new vibe of progress and acceptance for cryptocurrency. For there is one ally that Nigeria can leverage to give it advantage over other countries, it is this crypto. That our young population has gotten so far ahead of other countries in adopting. Thank you very much.
Please let's appreciate him as he leaves the stage. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sulaiman Mohammed, for that fantastic presentation. Right now, we're going to run a spotlight quickly on one of the tech companies that are doing exciting stuff in the tech space. For this session, I would like to invite Ejike Kanife. Ejike Kanife, editor, Technext. Do we have Ejike around? Oh, fantastic. Let us welcome him on stage, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hello. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, my name is Ejike Kanife, and I'm the editor at technext.ng. So this evening, we're going to be having a spotlight on one of the companies that have been doing great things with cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin. So we keep hearing stuff about cryptocurrencies being the future. The future. But how about those guys who are actually doing stuff with cryptocurrency, like presently? So we have guys who are accepting payments in form of cryptos, in form of Bitcoin, in form of everything else, okay? And like in the next 2 or 3 days, we'll have situations whereby I want to buy something from, from a guy who sells shoes and everything. And I'm willing to be able to send cryptos to this guy, and then he transfers me what I want and everything. But there's one company presently that is allowing you to be able to buy their bosses, and pay with cryptocurrencies. Jet EV. And presently, I want to invite on stage Mr. Sunjay Wupita to join me here, and so we'll have this conversation. Please put a round of applause for Mr. Sunjay Wupita. That's him. Thank you. Welcome.
It was funded with purpose of providing electric vehicles. With purpose of for us, we assemble this vehicle here in Nigeria. When we started, we need to start with what people are used to. We started with internal combustion engine, but this company was founded with internal combustion.
Thank you for putting the pause on that. Thank you very much, guys. So Jet EV is an electric vehicle production company. So they became the first auto company in Nigeria to integrate cryptocurrency into their payment system. So if you want to buy vehicles presently, you could just transfer in cryptocurrencies, and thank you very much. Yeah, okay, so straight to you, Sunjay. So some people say that integrating this kind of crypto systems into your payment system presently is way ahead of its time. But tell us, like, how do you guys come about this concept? How did you guys decide to do this? And why did you guys decide to go through with it, seeing as, you know, the space is still very nascent in the Nigerian?
Good evening, everyone. You're absolutely right. Integrating cryptocurrency payments may seem ahead of time and futuristic, but at JET, our roadmap has always been to accept global currencies. So as part of that, why we are looking at it from that perspective is we want to remove the barrier and eliminate it for making our products affordable and accessible to across the globe. That's the whole reason why we are looking at acceptance of a global currency.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Sunjay, we have to switch our. Don't worry.
So,
okay. This
continuing
is
from
much
what
better.
I was saying,
Okay.
that's the reason why we decided to accept global currency. And today we know, as by the panelists before us and everybody said, cryptocurrency is the new global currency, which can be used for trading across borders and everything. So that's the whole reason why we intended to do that. And at JET, what we do is we are shaping the future of mobility. Okay, and to that effect, as you have seen just in the video before, just a few months back, we launched Africa's very first EV van, which is a major, quite a achievement in its own. So from that perspective, we want to put, our vision is to put Africa into the roadmap of mobility. So what we feel is by accepting these payment things, we can actually put into the mobility space as well.
Thank you very much for that honest response, Sunjay. So how exactly does this work really? So if I want to buy an EV vehicle presently and I have Bitcoin, what are the processes that it is going to entail? Like how do I confirm if you've seen my payment? How do I, how long does it take for you to undergo the whole process?
Fantastic. I'd say the process is very, very simple, and it's as easy as how you would normally do buy any other product on our website. What you do is you go through the process of selecting the model you want to buy, and you do the customizations with regards to the seats and the everything, and then you select the Bitcoin payment option. So once you do that, we will send you a wallet address by which you can go there and make the payment in BTC. Now, the excellent thing over here, which changes the game, is if you look at it, the payment is secure, is trusted, and it is done on the blockchain. Confirmation is done by the sender as well as the receiver, which makes the transaction both safe and reliable and fast. So now coming to that, once the payment is confirmed, at the back end, we get the information via email. We will then share the receipt to you and then schedule the delivery as per the desired address, what you give to us. So it's very plain and simple, I would say.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. So crypto prices are very, very volatile, So they are subject to factors which are not even like which beat reason. So how do you guys deal with this kind of change, with the fluctuating price of crypto? Like, aren't you guys aware that today I could buy stuff for 75 million and tomorrow that amount in Bitcoin is like 45, just as I was saying importantly?
Once again, you're absolutely right. Cryptocurrencies are very, very volatile, but we are not worried about it, more say because we are looking at it from a long-term perspective. Now, if you want to go to see how the future is shaping up, you need to go back to the past as per the data and everything. And if you now see, again, data is there to show to us that the acceptance and the thing of crypto is gaining ground by leaps and bounds. So, and then more and more people trade in it, more and more people adapt to it and accept it. The price will be going up as supply will be fixed. So that takes care of the part of where we are looking at from a long-term perspective. A company like JET can play in from the orientation part. But then again, on the flip side, when you talk about the volatility aspect, yeah, though it's volatile, but then again, it's liquid. I can liquidate it. We can liquidate it anytime we want. So from that perspective, we are not that much bothered on the volatility because we are, as it is, pecking it against the pricing.
Oh, okay, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And so, yeah, this is going to be my final question. Okay, so based on what you guys have seen so far, integrating this crypto into your payment system, do you think that Africa and Nigeria is really ready for wide-scale adoption of this kind of payment system, or do you think we still have some ways to go?
The answer is yes. And again, we have data to back it up. As was told just before the session we had, where one of the panelists said that Africa happens to be world's 4th biggest crypto users. Okay, and so what's happening is that there's a generational shift which is happening based on more and more people are adapting to it. And you have to do it for both, which makes it for profitability aspect for both individuals and companies. The sooner they make this shift and they make themselves adaptable, that's where they can make the difference. Otherwise, they will make themselves, going forward in the future, they will not be that much relevant. So to preserve the relevance, the more and more people will have to, and the companies will have to adapt the crypto world.
Wow. Sunjay, thank you very much for this session. It's been a very, very
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys.
Can we put our hands together for them once again? Thank you. Without wasting much time, we'll move to the next keynote address. Blockchain for Africa. Anu Fejiro Agboje. Fejiro Anu Agboje is the founder CEO of Patricia Technologies, a fintech solutions provider company. His dream to make Africa the most desirable place for innovative transactions led him towards introducing unique positive markers, that would drive user experience and excellence in service delivery to the next level in Africa and beyond. Armed with the trademarked term, do the most, Anu is determined to build a legacy for getting millennials off the street, impacting lives with amazing products and services, and driving the vision of Patricia to make crypto easy. Can we put our hands together once again?
Good evening, everybody. This crowd is not excited. Have you guys eaten this evening? Drank water? Good evening, everybody. Much better. We'll try one more time. I can fight. Forgive me. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, guys. My name is Hanu. I'm the founder and CEO of Patricia. For those of you who do not know, Patricia, we're a crypto exchange company, and our mission is to make cryptocurrency easy. I've run Patricia for the past 4 years, founded in 2017, and at Patricia, we like to have a lot of firsts. In 2019, we introduced Africa's first ever crypto debit card. Fast forwarding 2020, we like to see ourselves as that bridge, that would bring cryptocurrency to the forefront of Africa. But we also understand that there's going to be a long transitional phase before cryptocurrency becomes mainstream. What do we do before that time comes? That's where we come in as Patricia. We try to be that bridge that is bridging traditional finance, traditional banking infrastructure to the blockchain. And what we did was we introduced everyday activities into cryptocurrency, where you can literally pay for your electricity, you can pay for GoTV, you can buy airtime, just everything you can do regularly, but you can now do it built upon the blockchain. And these have seen us grow tremendously. We have over 700,000 users on our platform. We have active presence in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa. South Africa launching soon. We have the UK, Asia, and also in the US. And just a quick way back into Patricia and who we are and what we do. Today I'm speaking about the endless possibility for blockchain in Africa. And it's a very exciting topic. Coming here, I was in my car driving down and I was thinking about it. And the first thing that came to mind was electricity. That is how I like to liken what the blockchain technology is. You know, today we look around and we see electricity all around us. You can't really see it, you can't really touch it, but it powers everything around us. Same thing with the blockchain. And time and time again, we see the advent of new technologies built on electricity. Now let's go back all the way to the 1800s when Michael Faraday invented electricity. Did he ever imagine that in the 2020s there will be a very crazy man called Elon Musk that would build electric cars? He didn't imagine that, right? And that's exactly what the blockchain is today. We are still in the very early phases, and the blockchain is like electricity. So now we have seen the power of cryptocurrency, which is where Patricia comes in, where we can move money from one point to another point in the world, right? And it's delivered in minutes, in seconds. We see the advent of Ethereum, where we can now write contracts. I'll start by explaining what the blockchain is before I talk about the application of the blockchain. To put it very basic, right? One of the biggest challenges that human beings have from the inception of time is trust. That was why money was created, or one of the reasons why money was created, something we can all agree on as a value of exchange. And that is the same basics of what the blockchain has been built on. The blockchain basically is a ledger that verifies integrity. The blockchain basically says one would always remain one as long as it was imputed into the system. So the blockchain is a ledger that verifies authenticity. And on that ledger, you can build anything you want. What we have seen now is cryptocurrency became a huge boom built upon this ledger of what the blockchain stands for. Now Patricia and a lot of other companies in Nigeria have been able to build upon that, and we have businesses that are thriving, that are employing people all around blockchain. So firstly, as a medium of exchange, the blockchain can be applied there to cryptocurrencies. Another very interesting one is NFTs, right? And NFTs are non-fungible tokens, basically what cannot be replicated. That's exactly what an NFT is, a digital artwork that cannot be replicated. But far more than just it being an artwork, right? What are the other applications for the blockchain around NFTs? Ownership. Just for the fact that I own a piece of artwork that can be verified by anybody anywhere in the world by just putting in a string in the blockchain network, right? It literally changes the game. It's kind of like the same thing we talk about with Instagram, right? Where we have these verified people on Instagram. You don't see them walking up and down with a verified badge on their head, right? But it is there, and it identifies them as verified people. That is the same thing that the NFT does, but for the rest of the world. And today, anything can become an NFT. Anything that can be digital. And we have seen people make millions of dollars, CryptoPunks, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, just from the idea of the blockchain, building upon what the blockchain is. And there are so many, many, many more applications. Still on this, right, there was a gentleman from YouVerify who works in identity. The blockchain can also be used in that regard also. Because what the blockchain is in its ethos is basically maintaining integrity, integrity of transactions, integrity of everything that we are doing. That is the underlying technology. Blockchain used in elections. I know many people would not want to hear this, but it's possible. We can use the blockchain to verify votes. Instead of taking 6 months, ballot buses, stressing our NYSC students, putting them at risk, what if we could build a solution based off the blockchain? We all have smartphones with us, right? We all download an app and we verify that we are the ones at the back of it. Each identity to one vote. And this is built upon the blockchain that it cannot be retraced. We can finish and start an election in 3 hours, powered by the use of the blockchain. And there are so many more use cases that I have noted down. 1 minute, guys. All right, so that's one for elections. Where else can we use the blockchain technology, right? We can equally use the blockchain technology as an investment vehicle. Now we have lots of technology being built, DeFi, yield solutions, but basically a way where you can give loans and you can receive loans just based off of smart contracts, and breaking it down a little bit more, what are smart contracts? A smart contract basically says, by tomorrow morning, if it rains, send 1 Ethereum to Mr. X. If tomorrow morning it doesn't rain, send 1 Ethereum to Hanu. That's basically what a smart contract is. But now we don't have to give that power to a company or to an individual, right? We can actually know if it rains tomorrow by putting up a Google search when the time comes. So we can write a smart contract that basically says that, and by 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, right, it will execute that contract based off of the results it gets off the internet. And that's the beauty of the blockchain technology. We see Ethereum, Solana, being able to execute smart contracts, and that's what makes them special, So how else can we apply the blockchain as investment vehicles? Now at Patricia, we are toiling over the idea of risk-free betting. Something very different, risk-free betting powered by the blockchain. And how does it work? Very, very simple, right? Let's say everybody here brings $1,000. Everybody takes $1,000 and puts it into a pool. And in a month's time, based off of what the blockchain has been, right, you can keep your money in a pool and it earns, say, 10% in 1 month. Everybody comes together, puts $1,000, that becomes $1 million, right, in a pool. And in a month's time, that $1 million becomes 1,100,000, risk-free betting. Now, a month has elapsed. People are waiting to find out who the winners are. The system will programmatically pick 4, 5, 6, 7 people, right? Give everybody back their initial investment, and a couple of people in that lot will be able to share the $100,000, right? And at no cost, risk-free betting. So these are the innovations that can be built on the blockchain. And these are just the early phases of it. We have not even begun to scratch the surface of what it can be. Identity verification, talking about hospital documentation. Imagine we had a central system for the entire country where once you go into any hospital, regardless of where you are in the nation, and you go into the hospital, all you have to do is give them your ID. And from your ID, they can pull up your data, your historical data that is on the blockchain, and they know exactly who you are, what allergies you have, what ailments you have. Imagine there's a car accident and this man cannot speak, but just for the fact that he has his ID on him, we can use the blockchain to extract that information and save a man's life. We can go on and on. Thank you, my guy. So we can go on and on as to, how we can implement the blockchain. And I'm already beginning to see very, very fantastic ideas being built on the blockchain. Every other day I get proposals of even more fantastic ideas that can be built upon this solution. And this is exactly what innovation is. This is the blockchain basically. The blockchain basically is what we should be looking towards. And I'll say this particularly for Africans and for the people in this room, right? As a continent and as a people, we are, in quotes, the minority. I travel these days and there is always this vibe about you being a Nigerian. There's always this stigma about you being a Nigerian. And I talk to you now and it's normal, right? But if I'm not in Nigeria, I automatically have an accent because I'm different. But here we are all guys, we're all G's, there's no problem. So, what's my point? What I'm trying to drive at is, when you think about Germany, you think about cars, right? You think about America, you think NBA, you think Apple, you think about Switzerland, London, you think finance, right? Blockchain technology is something that Africans and Nigerians, we can win at. It's something that we can succeed on, right? And this is 100% no cap. We have been succeeding in this industry with zero support. We have been succeeding in this industry with just vibes, right? But imagine if we got the support that we needed, right? Imagine if the regulators, I really wanted to be on this regulator conversation because I had a lot to say, but that's not why I'm here. But imagine if we got the support that we needed from the government, and imagine if we come together and become the support that we need. Blockchain is not bounded by geography. As long as you have a smartphone and you have internet, we can win. And we will win in this industry as long as we continue to do the most and as long as we continue to thrive. So, ladies and gentlemen, with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to change your narrative around the blockchain technology. I have 2 more minutes. I can look at the timekeeper with you. I got 2 more minutes, so if you have any questions, now will be a very good time. Please, would you want to help me with this part of things? Okay.
Hi, everyone. I am Adekole Daniel. I built Nigeria's first Bitcoin ATM machines.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Anu,
Yeah,
my question for you is, in scaling, how did you scale Patricia?
Yeah.
Okay, like remotely, digitally. Because I deal with physical, like turning paper money to fiat, to digital currencies. So how did you scale with that? Thank you.
So first of all, I think you have a very wonderful idea.
Would you want us to take all the questions?
I don't mind, if you don't mind. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Can I just go one after the other? I'll forget.
That's fine.
All right, thank you. All right, so I think you're onto something very fantastic. I think before we launched our card in 2019, right, we thought about Bitcoin ATMs, but for us, it just seemed a little bit too hazardous because it's expensive to get. It's something people are not necessarily used to. You have to educate the customers. So we went for cards instead because it was a low-hanging fruit for us. So for how I was able to scale Patricia, so I work with very first principles. If something works the first time, keep doing it until it stops working. You can read this book, Who Moved My Cheese, right? It's simple. If something works right, keep doing it until it stops working. And while you're at it, you keep looking for creative ways to find the next thing. And that's exactly what we did. Once we tried and we found one gold mine, we went to the end of the world with that while looking for the next big thing.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Henrietta Agbola, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and I'm a multifaceted professional. Thank you very much, Hanu, for your wonderful presentation. You actually lit us up. We were already sleeping. Thank you. Now, I noticed that a lot of us are consumers of this Bitcoin technology or this cryptocurrency technology. And recently I got interested in, rather than being consumers, can we be creators? All right, so I know that people can create their own Bitcoin, their own cryptocurrency. So I'd like to find out what is the, what I call the advantages or the disadvantages of actually having your own coin, your own cryptocurrency, and what are the best platforms to use in creating that?
Okay, wonderful question. So it's a difficult one, and I'll tell you that because how cryptocurrency works today, it's basically community. Everything around crypto is driven by the community. So that's why you can see an NFT by Walt Disney selling out in 1 second, just because they have the community. When it comes to building cryptocurrency, there is a lot of things to consider. Right now we have a whole lot of shitcoins all over the place. You put in your money and the next minute it dumps and you are wrecked. So it's very dicey, but if you want to go into creating your coin, there are really, really fantastic projects out there. I think one of my favorite projects today that I think is still very undervalued is the Solana blockchain. The Solana blockchain is a very special blockchain in the fact that it has a feature that most cryptocurrencies or most blockchains do not have, which is interoperability. What that means is the Solana blockchain can speak to other blockchains. And it's similar to when the NCC launched the port function. So you can literally speak to the Binance Smart Chain, you can speak to blockchain, you can speak to Ethereum. So I think you should consider that as a very strong point in creating your own token.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Vivian Agbata, and I'm the Public Relations Officer for ZenChain. So, quick introduction, please pardon me. ZenChain is a blockchain company. It's registered in Lithuania, and just like we're all talking, you spoke about features of Solana. You can actually liken us to that of Solana, right? Where we have interoperability, and we have fast transaction speed, better off than Ethereum. I mean, we're a fork of Ethereum, actually. And okay, we built community that it's large for now. And I mean, being a Nigerian project, it's been a lot of difficult. Try to scale through the competition, try to, convince people about your project. But of course, the project is a great one, so because of that, we have a lot of people speaking for us, actually. So now, taking it down to Nigeria, like you said, it's difficult to scale through, right? Because we're Nigerians. Nigerians don't support what Nigerians produce, right? Because if it's owned by a Nigerian or the idea is from Nigeria. So first, my question is, how do you, as a big brand already, how do we tackle this? What would you say pertaining this? Nigerians supporting what belongs to them. I mean, ZenChain is an African project that is way better than Solana. Trust me, if you go through it. So, yeah, trust me. So if you go through the project, you will find out that it has more than what Solana even has. It has more than what Ethereum has, right? But most Nigerians would be like, oh, because the CEO is a Nigerian, because some of the staff they're Nigerians, they wouldn't support the project, right? So what would you say to Nigerians pertaining this? That's one. And secondly, as a big man and as a big person in the industry, what would you rather do to support Zenith or support blockchains as powerful as this? Thank you.
Okay, you put me on the spot. All right. So I think what I realized a little bit late in running Patricia is that gold is gold, right? Gold is gold. And I'll give you an example. So there was this movie I watched that made me realize this. So there was this man, an Indian man, who always wanted a son. And he wants his son, because he wants his son to be a wrestler and represent India in the Commonwealth Games. He tried and tried and tried, and he was never able to have a son. He had 4 daughters, so he was just growing old and growing miserable. Next thing, he comes back home from work, and he sees that his 2 daughters beat up 2 boys, and they beat them up mercilessly. He was looking for a son, but his daughters did exactly what the son would have done. They showed strength, right? And then the man mentioned gold is gold, and it struck me, and it can be applied to what you guys are building, right? Gold is gold. It doesn't matter if Nigerians are adopting it or not, right? Like I said earlier on, blockchain is not bounded by geography, right? So if Nigerians are not giving you the reception you need, you look elsewhere, right? As entrepreneurs, our goal is to succeed. It doesn't matter if it is necessarily in this region or not, right? Our goal is to succeed. And if there's something I know about the Nigerian community, once a project or a product begins to show promise, begins to show success, and there is enough hype around it, they will eventually come around. So you need to focus on gold is gold.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
I'm just calling your attention to the screen. You remember you called my attention to the screen earlier? It's my turn.
Okay.
I will take more questions as soon as we have the panel session after this, so that we can.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Can we appreciate him once again, please? Thank you very much. Has anyone been able to access the Wi-Fi still? How will you be able to access it? From our record here, somebody is trying to download Yawa Laji or something. That film is heavy now, guy. That's like 10 gig. I've been trying to download like a gig on Netflix since. It's hanging, and it's because of you. Okay, please. Can we have the password on the screen for the Wi-Fi? Please. Thank you. We proceed to the next item on the agenda. Can we have David Afolayan come on stage for the panel session? David is the content chief for Technext. Can we put hands together for him, please? I'd like to call our attention to this screen when you come on stage to check the time, please, so that we don't delve into other people's time.
Okay. Hello once again, everyone. Apparently, they did not get a seat for me. And you'll be surprised that I was the one that signed all the checks for this event. So the MC has to think about his balance as well. All right, so I'll be calling on people that will be participating in this panel session, and I'll just love them to come on stage. So no long introductions. These guys will tell you the things about themselves. So I'm calling on innovators in the space, and the first person I'll be calling on is Emmanuel Babs Babalola. He's the Africa Director at Binance, and interim CEO of Bundle. Babs, please come on stage. That's the first person we'll be having. Okay, Babs is coming. And the next, I'll be calling on the co-founder and COO of GIGX, Osamede Ahomwonde. Please come on stage. Thank you very much. All right, next person is, I just had a brief conversation with Idris that handled the first session outside, and I was talking about the mama of Bitcoin, Bitmama CEO, Ruth Iselema. You guys will understand why we call her the mama of Bitcoin when she comes on stage. We're supposed to have panelists on the online session, and I must apologize. They have been waiting for us to get through with the first session since. So I will confirm if they are online, and I'll be calling on the last physical panelist here, Jacqueline Madu, the CEO of Hotbox Technology, also known as Azapay. Please let's put our hands together for Jacqueline. All right, just to confirm, we are supposed to have Modibe Metsepane, the growth lead from Pax Full Africa. I don't know if he's on the call. He's joining us from outside Nigeria. Modibe, can you hear me? Okay. I think Modibe, if you can hear me at any point, kindly respond so that I can put you on the call. All right. So apparently this panel is filled up with innovators, and the conversation we'll be having is blockchain possibilities for Africa. We've looked at the regulation point of the conversation, and right now we are looking at the players in the field. What are the things that we can do? What are the possibilities? Modibe, thanks for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, the volume is not enough. Modibe?
David, can you hear me?
Okay,
I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate. We apologize for taking your time earlier. So Modibe is a Senior Associate Growth for Africa. So I've been asked to make some announcements. We announced some giveaway. Kidas is giving 1,000 KDX. GIGX is giving 10,000 worth of BTS and USDT. Zenith and Kurobis are also giving giveaways. Zenith is giving out 50 Zenith to 100 lucky winners. And Kurobi is giving out $25 worth of KIN and $25 of Kuro to 3 lucky winners. Please, you need to download their apps and have a contact with the people at the exhibition booth to claim these gifts. All right, it's nice to have everyone on the call. So first, let's talk about what we have in existence, okay? As we know, based on when we made this announcement, a lot of people registered, and quite a lot of people are interested in the crypto space. But the truth is, not a lot of people understand it. So people see this as a viable instrument of investment, but they are not quite sure how it works. And some people have bad experiences because of it. So I'm going to have a 30 seconds, no, not a 30 seconds. I'm going to start with Ruth. I know you can explain to us as Beat Mama, in a simple language, what are cryptocurrencies? Do you have a microphone with you?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So, generally, I think I've been asked this question a lot. What are cryptocurrencies? So, I'm going to explain it like you're 5. So basically, when you want to, we're all familiar with the concept of gold. So when you want to mine gold, you have to dig, right? And when you dig, the reward you get for digging or using all those machinery is gold. So it's a similar concept with Bitcoin. When you talk about Bitcoin mining or cryptocurrency mining, the reward you get are cryptocurrencies. So now, we now come to the fact that there is blockchain and there is cryptocurrencies. So now the blockchain is the cryptographic ledger. So it's like a ledger that is immutable. So when I say immutable, I mean like it cannot be changed. So let's say we're all in a class and I carried last, God forbid, but I carried last, and I was able to go to the ledger and say, oh, I carried first, but meanwhile, Babs carried first. So, but if all of you here agree that Babs carried first, I cannot change it that I carried first. So all of you here agree that I carried last. So that's where it's immutable. You cannot change the records, or one person cannot change the records to lie when like a host of decentralized community computers agree that this thing this person is saying is not actually true. So now when you mine those transactions to verify that roots carried last and Bab carried first. So once you are verifying those transactions, the reward you get for verifying those transactions in a decentralized manner is cryptocurrencies.
Wow. Thank you for breaking it down for us. Mr. Michael Kiberu is joining us from Bit to Big. I liked your definition of cryptocurrencies in a TEDx conversation you had some months back. Can you hear me? Just confirm if you can. Oh, I can't hear Michael. Okay. Michael, can you hear me now before I move on to the next question? Oh, okay. So when Michael can hear me, I just wanted him to give credence to the conversation we have. So the power of blockchain is mind-blowing. Because we were planning this, I've written about blockchain cryptocurrencies before, and I tried to understand it before this event. Like, let me understand what it is, nitty-gritty. I should be able to explain it to my 2-year-old daughter. And at some point, I was becoming too knowledgeable and I'm becoming confused, right? The power is immense. And there are a lot of startups, even across Africa, that are doing fantastic things with the blockchain. And that power has not yet been tapped. So the question is, what are the challenges at this moment? Babs, why do you think, as much as we say we have 32% adoption, though there are controversies around it, why are we still having an adoption issue across Africa or Nigeria?
Thank you for that question. So cryptocurrency and blockchain technology are still at its very early days. Nigeria ranks, I think, first in the world in terms of blockchain adoption. And that's kind of like, very curious as to what people are interested in searching for. If you go to Google Trends, you see how people are searching for, okay, what is Bitcoin? And like Nigeria ranks one of the top, countries with the most searches of that word. So people are interested, right? And then that's the first stage, interest. Now what happens is that because of the education gap, the knowledge gap that we see across Africa in terms of new technologies, that's kind of like very limiting in terms of how people kind of like understand technology. Now, I think back in 2016, if you take 10 Nigerians and ask them, do you know about crypto? Maybe just 2 will say they've heard about crypto, and maybe one of them will think it's a scam, right? Now, if you take 10 people and ask them what is crypto, or have you heard about crypto, a large percentage of them have heard about it, but majority of them think that it's for big boys. Once you're in crypto, you have made money. But that is not the case. So there's a fundamental education problem that has to be solved. And then there is the regulatory also concern, right, which we talked about earlier. So I think those are kind of like 2 things that crypto has to deal with 2-3 years.
Okay, that is a lead for my next question. So, Osamede, I know that you guys that are innovating in that space understand this space. But for those of us at this side, many of us are scared. We don't want to lose in this space. What are you guys doing to change that narrative?
So when it comes to the narrative around, being scared about cryptocurrency assets, I think nothing takes away that fear as much as education does. So I think for us, one of the main pillars that we are riding on is to educate more of the market about what these digital assets are. See, every generation, there's always a shift that happens, right? Right before us was the internet shift. Or I think I heard Anu actually say today, talking about electricity. And I want you to think about it that way. Imagine the first guy that saw electricity, right? It was dangerous. It could shock you. It could burn down your house. But does it mean because it could do all of those things, you wouldn't use it? Imagine if we looked at all the fears all the risks associated with electricity. We will not be in a room like this today, powered by the same electricity.
We will not be talking about electric vehicles changing the world and greener. We wouldn't have all of those conversations. But it changed because a group of people decided to say, hey, let us understand what's going on. I think that's the same thing with cryptocurrency and blockchain. It's education. And that's what we're bringing to the space, education. And the second thing is a team you can trust. And I think that's very important. I mean, I speak to a lot of people who have been in the space, who have been scarred in the space. And when you ask them, why did you buy what you bought? It ends up being, I just heard it was like a tip, but no one actually said, hey, it's the same way if your friend came to meet you and said, invest in my business. First, you're going to find out, does your friend even have that skill? If the guy was a carpenter and told you, come invest in my surgical business, you're going to be like, yo, man, you don't have that skill set. So I think the education brings all of that, understanding the team behind it, understanding what they're doing, what benefits it brings to the marketplace and things like that. But education is the first thing, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to come to Jacqueline, but first let me ask Ruth, in line with the education conversation. So out here, there are people who either have invested once and have lost cash, or people who have not invested before, but they are very careful about this instrument. How would you advise somebody to engage crypto investment?
Okay, I'm looking at Babs and I'm smiling because, like, the number one thing with crypto is if you don't sell, you don't lose. So let me say you buy Bitcoin and it's dropping. You just have to be patient. So we always say do your own research. Invest what's, usually they say invest what you are willing to lose. Yeah, but in this case, maybe just invest a small amount. Let's say you're not willing to lose anything. Just invest a small amount. You mustn't go all in. Just go maybe 5% of your income or 10% of your income, and maybe just wait it out so that at the end of the day, you don't lose your money. That is if you're not a seasoned trader or you're not well-versed in trading with all those trends that most of the traders trade with. Yeah, so, but based on education, I believe all of us have been trying our best. Most of us in the space, we've been educating as far back as even 2017. We've been doing lots of education. We've been spinning out lots of meetups, education here and there. So I guess over time, people would also get to know what's happening. Some people also meet the wrong people that educate them wrongly. So another thing, that's why we always say do your own research. So when you do your research, you're sure to find those that would educate you in the right way, not the wrong way. I've seen recently some people will say, oh, come and invest crypto and do Forex. Please, it's a lie and it's a very big scam. If you know you're in any of those kind of groups, try your best to pull out of it because you're going to lose your money. You don't invest crypto and do Forex, or you don't do Forex and invest crypto. Please, that one, I'm very particular about that one. So if you're doing crypto, you stick with crypto. If you're doing Forex, you do Forex, but they'll tell you bring 500,000 naira to get 1 million, and you're investing in one Forex crypto trading event. Please, it's a big lie and it's a big scam. So try to be watchful on that. More education would definitely help, but also try to read by yourself. Don't just believe what somebody tells you just because you know that maybe this person is going to your church, or this person is your uncle or your father's sister or your one thing. It doesn't work. We are a society prone to Ponzi a lot, and lots of us like Ponzi. That's the truth. So please try and do your own research yourself. For the education, definitely to pick up. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruth. See what we call a bit mama, right? So Jacqueline, other people have concerns that, because of a lot of bad things that this platform could be used for. I know the first panel, there was a conversation. I know also mentioned that part where we have the good and the bad side. But generally, what do you say to people who feel, this could be a conduit for terrorism or for other channels, and they want to avoid it because of conscience or whatever? What do you say to them?
Hello?
So, I don't think there is anything that exists without risk, or anything that exists without having its good side or its bad side, right? So if people bring the argument of terrorism or money laundering and the likes, with fiat, that still exists, right? They are still being financed. Are they able to trace this successfully? So we can't completely put the blame on cryptocurrency. And I think it's because people have a different understanding of what cryptocurrency is and how to make use of it, right? So this is what I strongly believe. I believe that digital currency, the blockchain, is the future, right? But I look at cryptocurrency more as an investment for the investor, right? In the sense that you have a currency in itself that can appreciate and can depreciate. So there's a lot of similarities between cryptocurrency and the forex market, right? There's a similarity between it. And when you look at that, you go into that market with that mindset, knowing that it's an investment. It might go good and it might go bad. In the area of educating on cryptocurrency, I believe that we have gone really far in educating people on cryptocurrency. And that would be pegged on the fact that looking at how blockchain operates, the value of Bitcoin went from how much to how much now. That shows you that there's a large adoption to people coming into cryptocurrency. And we've had a lot of currencies coming into play, even from after Bitcoin, Ethereum, you have Dogecoin. There are a lot of, even some people lost money with Squeakcoin and the likes, right? So everyone is jumping into the crypto space. So it would be best to jump into it with all your eyes opened. Right? Don't close your eyes and peg it on somebody said or somebody didn't say, like Bit Mama mentioned. And also, it's important to get into that space with a platform that is trusted, a platform that has pedigree. It's kind of seconding what Osamide mentioned here, right? That way, you know that these people know what they are doing, right? They have spent so long building the business, and you already know that, okay, they are in it for the good and not for the bad. So in general, it's opening your eyes to going into the market and understanding that there is absolutely nothing that has no risk in it. So it's if you're willing to take that risk.
Fantastic. I'm learning quite a lot. Do we still have Michael and Modibe on the call? So I'll be going for my final round of questions. I just want to confirm if they're still with us. Michael and Modibe, do we still have them on the call? So Michael, can you say something? Let's see if we can hear you. Please, the technical guys. Okay, Michael, I can hear you now, right? So the question I wanted to ask you all along, you just answered that before I go with the final round on the panelists here, is the purpose of technology is to change human experience. It's to make our lives better. I heard you speak on TEDx, and I was fascinated by the life experiences you shared. Can you just share with us one or two life-changing experiences of blockchain and human interaction across Africa?
Okay, thank you for asking. And I'm glad the TEDx actually has been helpful to many so far from the feedback. First of all, thank you for the conference and also for all the speakers and panelists. I think that's what we need more and more to actually make a difference. So if we talk about just a blockchain, it's not just about technology. It's about community. It's about inventors. It's about creators. It's about artists. It's about art. So it's not just all about just what has blockchain done, but what is the differences actually all those different, let me call it, puzzles are able to do with the technology. So I'm seeing a huge benefit. For us as Bit to Big, we do trading, we do cryptocurrency trading, we teach youth, we train about 1,000 youth every year. Just COVID gave us an unwanted break. That's one side of our work we do. We run locations where you can walk in, like in Uganda, Kampala, you walk in near the central bank, you exchange crypto. And we have also other partners kind of in the area, for example, of work. You can come together as a team, decentralized, deliver a work package and get paid in crypto. We paid out is something we're rolling out strongly next year. And then Celo, we are Celo Alliance members. Celo is a blockchain, initially a fork from Ethereum, yet on proof of stake, much faster and with many advantages. So Celo is one of the projects we've been working with, teaching, training. Our main focus has really been the last year's training awareness. 2018, we're in Nigeria, training. We're in Rwanda, training. We've been in Switzerland, in Germany, and so on and so forth, training. Soon we're also in two more countries, which will be announced soon. So the biggest difference really, I think, is the way we today have the opportunity to have financial inclusion. I just had a client today who exchanged with us a certain amount because he is buying or selling, actually, exporting flowers from East Africa to abroad. I don't want to go into details. Payment of crypto makes it more smooth, more faster than the normal banking process, for example. But we also have smaller projects, like someone comes and say, hey, you know what? I want my savings. We had one gentleman, I think he lost his job. I don't remember the whole story, and he wrote me, hey, Mr. Michael, I have this money. I know if I use it all, that's it. What can I do? How can I get profits from it? So we gave different options. At the end, we traded it for the client, and the client was able to actually come out with some profits of it. But I want to go back to really financial inclusion. And
sorry, Michael.
Blockchain with cryptocurrency.
Hello, Michael, can you hear me?
Again, a totally new world. We talk about NFTs.
Hello, Michael, can you hear me? All right, we are going to get to that part where we talk about the future prospects for Africa. I just wanted to hear the story experiences. So, guys, we are going to go now to the last part of our conversation. So we're going to do this in, I think we have 4 minutes. So first, let me start with Babs. A lot of people are interested in this. It's the future, and they don't want to lose out. So practically, if I want to start that journey, what are the things I need to start with?
So I think the first thing you need to do if you want to start your crypto journey is actually to get the right information, right? And funny enough, there's a lot of free information out there. And a lot of the industry players are putting out massive content in terms of, how to get started with crypto. So the first thing you want to do is education, right? You want to understand the risk. You want to know how to avoid scams. You want to know how to identify scams. Someone promising you 1,000,000% a day, that's not true. So there are a lot of things to consider first. And then depending on what you want to do, like people are coming into crypto not just to make money, right? People are sending money to their families abroad. People are receiving money from their families abroad. People are using it to do settlements. There are a lot of use cases for crypto. So if you're a businessman, or maybe you want to buy some Bitcoin to send to maybe your partner in Turkey or something like that, so there are different applications for Bitcoin for every person. So the key thing is to know, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to buy it to invest? If it's an investment for you, then you want to really understand the risk involved, right? So getting started, the first thing that you must get is the right education. Over the past year, we've educated at least 400,000 people, and same for like a bunch of other players in the industry. So there are a lot of great content out there, but the biggest thing you must do is to do your own research, okay? Don't take anybody's word for it. Don't take my word for it.
do your own research and get the right education.
Thank you, Babs. I know a lot of us speakers who've spoken here have talked about dumping and all those terminologies. So people bringing up coins that eventually will become worthless, right? But there are things that are going to be profitable or samedi, and people don't want to lose out. What should we look out for the future?
Hello. Okay, so when it comes to what can you look out for the future, we have to put an eye on watching the trend, right? So today, one of the speakers talked about the fact that Facebook, they're worth $1 trillion. They changed their name from Facebook to Meta. That already tells you that is a conversation right there. It's like, okay, so what is this about this metaverse? Then you can get educated in this space, and then you ask yourself, who are the players that are causing that innovation? You see, change is happening constantly. We have to ask ourselves, who can benefit or who is benefiting from this change, right? And who are the people who are essentially going to put that change in place? So talking about metaverse, for example, in cryptocurrency world, you hear projects like Sandbox or projects like Decentraland. But first, you have to listen to the conversations, right? We talked about conversations like someone was talking about creating their own application. And we talked about layer one. I think Hanu said Solana was one of his favorite ones. Well, if more developers are going to build applications that could potentially change our world, they're going to need to build it on a form of operating system. So the question is, what are the top operating systems run by the best teams in the world? Then you start thinking about the companies like the Solana, the Cardanos, the Cosmos, right? It goes on and on and on. But the key, again, is to understand the conversations happening in the world and ask ourselves, who are the companies that could benefit from these conversations? And who are the best teams that are positioned, right, to take advantage of it?
Okay. So the question I'll be asking Jackie is, quite a number of people, maybe because they are investing their time in maybe in career or other things, might not really have the opportunity to know as much as they need to know to be pros in this thing. Are there other ways to go around it?
I think that's where the crypto platform come into play. And when you look at the user experience of an application, that in turn lets you know how the users are going to interact with that application. And also it gives the user a level of clarity on what the application is all about. So for someone who doesn't have the time, to dive into it or to turn it up to a full-time job, they need to. It's actually inevitable not to research about it, right? So you know the risk, you understand what the market is, you understand everything you need to know about it, but it's ultimately finding a trusted partner. It's more like insurance, right? So you just find like a trusted partner, and it's one of the things that I have noticed about the GIGX application. I've used it, and also one of the things that I think set the Patricia application apart, because when you go to Patricia's application or you go to the GIGX app, you are not overwhelmed by too much information. It's just straight, direct, and you know what you need to do. So for people who are not looking in the direction of diving in, having a Binance feel or a Quidax feel of what cryptocurrency is all about, you look in the direction of an application that is making it very simple for you to understand. So that would be my advice to anyone who wants to dive into it but doesn't have the time to get all the nitty-gritty around it.
Great. So final 30 seconds from everybody, beginning from Ruth. What is the future that people should look out for? What is that thing that we are not presently doing with blockchain that you think in the next 5 years would be something that will be a reality? What's the next game changer? What should people look out for?
I think we should look out for the blockchain in the health sector, especially in the place of medical records and the whole thing. I don't know if you've gone to a Nigerian public hospital and seen where they keep their records. I'm thinking blockchain would be very, very useful in the medical sector.
Okay, Jackie?
I think blockchain would be very, very useful in terms of security and identity as well. So when you put that together, you'd see that people become accountable when they know that they are easily traceable, right? And there's no hanky-panky to the data on someone changing their date of birth. Their birth certificate said A, then after how many years they decide that, oh, they want to drop their age from A to B and all of that. So you will be able to eliminate all of that and ascertain Mr. A is Mr. A, Mr. B is Mr. B, and be sure of it. Because with blockchain, you can't tamper with data.
Fantastic, Osamide.
So Uber and Airbnb introduced the world to the sharing economy. I think blockchain is going to introduce the world to the tokenization of everything economy. And that's what I'm most excited about, is that place where DeFi and NFTs meet, where we could start financing, not just for individuals, but governments, where we could start financing projects that could change our world, impact our world, but these projects will be owned, and the people who will benefit from it will be the people. So I think that intersection of DeFi and NFTs for the fractionalization of everything, that's what I'm most excited about.
Okay, before Bob speaks, I know Jackie said GIGX and pointed at you. What's about your platform?
Thank you very much, Jackie. So GIGX is essentially a cryptocurrency bank. Our goal is to bring financial services to cryptocurrency holders. So think about financial services like the ability to use your cryptocurrency asset as a loan or as a collateral for a loan. Financial services like the ability to earn, just like your savings account. Financial services like the ability for you to use your cryptocurrency asset to invest in real-world activities. And you can earn from these real-world activities. For us, we are just looking to bridge the gap between the real world and the blockchain world. So.
Fantastic. Babs?
Just like GX part, I see like a lot of coming out from Africa. I like to tell people that Africa has the most profound use cases for crypto, and that will begin to show, and like more Africans would begin to take like more global positions where we are not just building solutions for ourselves here, but we are actually building solutions to export for the rest of the world. So a lot of things will begin to take traction. As we know, NFTs is becoming very popular, and Nigeria's music industry is like one of the biggest music industries in the world, right? So it's very clear, like the clear, link between NFTs and like Nigerian music industry, and we keep seeing like a lot more innovation as a lot more players, begin to innovate and just, build for the world. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm going to take. Do we have any question? I think this session has. We have question. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to take two, just one, and one from this. So let's take a female. Yeah, one. So that we can balance the gender. No, I'm looking for a female to ask the second question. Just that will be it. What do you guys suggest I do? So let me take. All right, so let's take it fast. Take all the questions. All the questions.
Good evening, all. Okay, so my question is, they said, okay, so I just want to find out, is blockchain really decentralized? Because I read and I hear it's actually decentralized, which means it does not have control, so to say. Because why I'm asking this is when you look at what is happening, even with the regulators today, it's all about control. So the question is, who should have this control? Should it be the exchange, or you guys who are in the industry, or the regulators, so to say? So can you really say blockchain is decentralized when you come to its operation? Then lastly, how can we make this blockchain whole thing applicable to our daily lives? We have said, one thing I learned here is it can be used for identification. Is it possible that even in this conference, we can have a blockchain ID for every participant, so that if I want to come to your platform and maybe sign up with that code, you can get all my details? Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Emmanuel Ogenelvo, and I'm a content creator. I run my own YouTube channel. My question is a bit more of the action time, right? So when I think of projects like Solana, Avalanche, Axie Infinity, and I look at the numbers they are doing, it's pretty exciting. But the question is, and I believe when I say this, I speak for a large number of persons in this room. The question is, we do not have the luxury of access to the inside, to the early birds, in the sense to find these gems when they are young. And so my question to the panel is, what is the best approach to find these gems when they are still in their early stages, probably selling for fractions of a cent, in order to maximize profit and ultimately change our lives?
So we're taking just one more. All right.
Good evening. My name is Johnson. Please, my question goes to Binance. Now, we know we have a problem already with the regulators in Nigeria. So I had a rumor that in your P2P, there are some I would want to be quoted elements of Nigerian government monitoring people trying to do P2P because cryptocurrency. So how true is that on your, and how do you make sure that people using your are not liable to what happens after using your platform? Thank you.
All right, thank you for the questions. The first person who asked 2 questions, one is a suggestion. I think we will think about how we can use blockchain for registration here. So, Babs already has his own question. Automatically, Bitmama will take, how do we identify the next gem? Then I will just allow Samedi and Jackie to respond to the first question, right? We was asking if it's truly decentralized. I guess the question is around, how are we really sure that it is what it is? If you say people cannot know who I am, is it really true that people cannot know who I am? And is it really connected to any government? So let's start with Babs. Everybody is going to be having just 45 seconds, so I'm counting in my mind.
I'm taking the question of Binance or the...
The question directed at you, Binance.
Okay. So we take security of our users very, very important. And the platform is, first of all, it's open, meaning that anybody can sign up, right, and use the platform. So I think this is like the second time I'm hearing that particular, rumor, as it were. I don't think that is true. And one of the key things we try to do is, over time, our P2P platform has evolved. So we've implemented several algorithms to checkmate, illicit actors specifically. And we take also a very collaborative approach to, working with law enforcement to support as well. So in terms of people coming to Binance to, look for, someone to block, I don't think that's the case for most of it. So you can rest assured that your trading on Binance is
Thank you, boss.
Safe.
All right, Bitmama. How do we identify the next gem?
Okay, Emmanuel, I won't blame you. I have the same pain because yesterday I was looking for the next big NFT. Okay, so I think one way you could do that is maybe follow people in the ecosystem. It's still back to doing your own research. Follow people in the ecosystem that you know that maybe have a voice on this. So like, for me, I'm not an NFT expert, but I know that the NFT market is booming. I have purchased some myself, but like I'm also looking for what's the next big thing. So I have to follow those that I know that are doing well in the NFT space, those that signal people early that this is the next big thing. And yeah, basically that's it. It's just about doing your own research.
Okay, so Samede will be speaking last. Jackie just answered the question on is it truly decentralized? Should the users be scared?
Before I go into that, I would want to say that I don't think there's really any way to find out what the biggest germs are. Like, I don't think there is. You can only, factor in a few things that are similar, right? But ultimately, it would be knowing the team behind the coin or whatever it is. So I feel just do your research and don't hinge on anybody's talk. So back to the right question to me.
Yeah.
So the blockchain is decentralized because it's not even capped on anybody's emotion, right? So if you come to class, I'd use a real life example to describe how blockchain works. So let's say we're in class and there's a class captain, right? And the class captain does not like Jackie, but likes Ruth and likes Osamide. If Osamide and Ruth are making noise, the class captain will not write their name because of emotion. But if Jackie just drops her pen because she doesn't like Jackie, she's going to write my name. Now that is what blockchain eliminates. That if the four of us agree and say, if any noise is being made, just like almost similar to the Squid Game movie, right? Any more noise is being made. We've all agreed, putting aside our emotions or how we may feel in the future, that this is what it is, right? So no other person can come in between what has already been set in place as this is the path that we are all going. So yeah, it's truly decentralized, if that answers the question.
Thank you, fantastic. So Samedi, how do we know the next?
Okay, so I guess I'll just talk about both things. First of all, the whole idea of is blockchain truly decentralized? This is how decentralized it is. Today, if you wanted, you could run your own node. You can literally get a record of all the transactions that has occurred on that chain, if you wanted. That's how decentralized it is. Anyone can plug into it, right? So I mean, it's not in-naira, but yeah. The second thing I was going to talk about is the idea of how do you find the next gem. And I think Big Mama answered it very well. You have to be around the conversation. But I'll give you one too. So ICOdrops.com. So ICO drops is typically, it's like anything else, right? Every business wants to raise money. So if every business wants to raise money, they are out there talking about what they are doing. So you just have to know where they are talking about it. So it's the Discord groups, it's the Twitters, right? Like I said, ICO drops. I mean, I've had good fortune. I was an early investor in Binance. I think 13 cents I got in. So my point is that it's there, you can catch it. And these things can absolutely change your life, right? So ICOdrops.com. Thank me later.
Yeah. So Osamedi has just done giveaway. Everybody here should credit his account. Thank you very much, panelists. I really enjoyed this session. I hope we all do. We all did enjoy this session. Please give them a round of applause. So let's just all rise while we take a picture. Let's come together and take a photo session. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this conversation. Yeah. So let's come together. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for them as they exit the stage? I'd like that we put our hands together especially for David. David, we are clapping for you. My balance. Good. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda. Christian Hotel, the Conflux Network. Christian co-founded the Singua International Blockchain Association, TIBA, was a senior project manager at the Global Crypto Fund and Incubator Blockchain Founders Fund, and co-founded an enterprise blockchain as a service platform before becoming head of global expansion of Conflux Network. We are going to put up a video from Christian right away. Let us put hands together for him. Can we have the video from Christian?
Hello, Technext 2021. How are you doing? Hello, Technext 2021. How are you doing today? My name is Chris, and I'm the head of global expansions at Conflux Network. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 different aspects of Conflux Network. The first is to give you a little introduction. Then I'll be talking about what we're doing to push the Web3 adoption on a bigger scale. Afterwards, I'll delve a bit into the ecosystem developments of Conflux Network. And at the very last, I'll share some opportunities for everyone. Let's begin. So the Web3, right? It came from a couple of things that resulted out of Web3, where internet giants like Microsoft, Google, Alibaba, right? They rely on extracting users' data and charging a premium as their business model. Platforms may provide the value of gathering and matching data, yet users are still paying for the contributions they've made in form of the data, right? Which the companies sell for a profit. And to make things even worse, platforms are consistently overlooking privacy violations, manipulation, and price monopolization. These devastating pain points have resulted in the birth of decentralized systems. Among them, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the most adopted and well-known. However, they both face performance bottlenecks, posing a major obstacle for wider adoption for everyone to use. And Conflux aims to seize the opportunity under the paradigm shift towards decentralization to create a new borderless system with a better security and a more efficient way to facilitate upgraded resource sharing and to enable an ecosystem with trust as the foundation for integration and exchange and everyone to use. Now, at the top here, you can see the traditional blockchain structure, right? Traditional blockchains are linear and convergent in nature and can usually only confirm one block at a time. And for security reasons, these confirmations take a very long time, thus limiting the throughput of these networks. The one from Conflux is a bit more complex, as you can see at the bottom, right? Conflux tree graph structure is divergent and can confirm multiple blocks concurrently, increasing the throughput while maintaining high levels of security. To not get into the details, in a nutshell, Conflux POW utilizes 95% of the network's computing power while maintaining high levels of security, throughput, and decentralization. 91.5%, what does this mean? It means that 95% of all computers that use energy to do mining, right, that the energy is fully converted into resource, into confirming calculations on top of the blockchain. Now, you might seem it's not high, but if you look at Bitcoin or Ethereum, their utilization is 15%. So 85% of all computing power that is there to confirm transactions on Ethereum go to waste. Conflux, it doesn't go to waste. Now, I don't want to go too much into detail on this page. These are the core minds who started Conflux Network back in 2018. And since then, it has evolved into something much bigger. Conflux has become a global network. Conflux mainnet launched last year on October 29th. And since then, it's become a decentralized network with over 1,000 POW nodes spread across 26 countries. Until now, we have more than 1.5 million unique wallet addresses. The whole network has processed over 45 million transactions. There are more than 5,800 smart contracts deployed. The total community count is around 150,000 as we speak, but it's growing daily. And we have more than 50 reliable partners with whom we are working on pushing Web3 to the next frontier, and already 150 projects launched on top of Conflux, which you can use. We also have a small team in Africa led by Ihis. I'm sure he is somewhere in the crowd. Hey, Ihis, and if you guys have any other questions, you can ask Ihis afterwards or connect with Ihis. Now, Conflux network, right? Not only from a technical perspective, but from other aspects also needs to push Web3 adoption, because Web3 or how to interact with blockchain technology is not that familiar. One of the things that we have included is a sponsorship mechanism. To keep it short, the sponsorship mechanism allows third parties or the developers themselves to sponsor transactions, which means that the user who interact with these smart contracts on top of Complex Network do not need to hold CFX in their wallet, right? What does this mean? The user does not have to sign up on a centralized exchange first, onboard their fiat to crypto, then change this crypto to CFX, and then off-ramp it again onto a wallet address in order to interact with Complex Network, right? On Complex Network, once the sponsorship mechanism is implemented, people can just start using it. This is not available on other blockchains. We have many partners out there, right? And the reason for that is many partners, they have their own products and own solutions that benefit any blockchain ecosystem. And that's why we have partnered with them to bring these features to all of you out there as well. From centralized exchanges, right, that have listed complex native token CFX, to wallet solutions that give users a more known experience when interacting, from remittance companies that use our technology to other blockchain networks for interoperability. The partnerships are there and are growing day by day to provide you, the user, or an upcoming ecosystem project, the most possible tools to make it even easier for their users in the end. As you might know and might have seen it, Binance and OKEX are amongst the largest exchanges that have listed us. Gate.io has also listed us, MXC as well. We'll be having a couple of fiat pairs by the end of this month. And hopefully in the upcoming weeks or so, we'll also be listed on your favorite local exchange from Nigeria. Besides that, we have started several initiatives, right, to onboard the next generation, to teach them about it. And the Complex Beto initiative is something we have done with a network of universities here in China. It started last year, we had around 120 participants, and this year this number grew to 300 participants. And what happens here is these students or enthusiasts, they come and they participate in courses just like in a university. In addition, they will form groups to build a product that will then participate in a hackathon, in an evaluation, to also compete for prizes. Besides the Beto initiative, we're also working on hosting an array of educational programs across the world, right? So that everyone can learn about blockchain technology from 0 to 1, from every aspect, for free, right? Recently, we've partnered with Chain IDE, and we're preparing to do a developer workshop targeting specifically African talents, in which African talents can learn how to develop on top of Conflux and also build a product to participate in a small tournament in the very end. The next part is the ecosystem, right? I've mentioned we have many ecosystem projects on top of Complex Networks. Here you can see a small array, a small subset of these. And it's growing daily and daily. And the next few minutes, I want to talk about 3 specifically. This one was built by the ecosystem project called CoCafe. And it started off with McDonald's China issuing an NFT on top of Conflux, right? What this tells us is that blockchain technology is not only used by nerds or people who understand technology, right? It is going to the masses. If you look at NFTs, right? Shaq O'Neal changed his Twitter picture to an NFT. Visa did that. Steve Curry did that. Adidas did that, right? And it's just becoming more and more. And NFTs are so special that they have made digital assets or digital art into something unique and collectible. And in the future, with the development of upcoming metaverses, you'll be seeing NFTs integrated into metaverses and getting more use cases. Another thing that is crucial and something that only Complex Network has is this CNHC. What is CNHC? CNHC is the first compliant stablecoin issued on the Complex Network, right? People can use it for cross-border to settle trades, right? And it's already being used across the world by merchants who buy stuff from EU and China to ship it back to their home countries and to further sell it there. Just to give you a couple of numbers, there are around 5 million CNHCs issued on top of Conflux, which will be ready to use on the apps built on top of Conflux. On top of that, the company CNHC itself, they are actually handling over 100 million CNHC worth of cross-border settlements each month, and it's only growing. And on top of Conflux, it will get easier than ever to access CNHC and then to also pay off merchants in China, or actually just use it as a fiat currency that you want to use to hedge against inflationary assets. Now, the next project I want to talk about today is called GIGX. I'm sure you guys have seen GIGX today at the event and probably have already experienced this product. And I must say, you guys are one of the first in the world to experience this specific product in advance of everyone else, because this will reach to mass adoption. You guys know it's led by the visionary entrepreneur Chidi and co-founder Osamede, and it's just groundbreaking, right? It's never has it been so easy to buy BTC, CFX, or USDT, or to withdraw it and change it back to Naira, right? In addition, in the future, you will be able to use the assets you have in this wallet to stake and to participate in real-world investments to earn weekly rewards, right? And I don't want to get too much into it, because today at the event, you have the experts who have been building this product, and a firsthand experience will always be better than me telling to you about it. So I encourage everyone, when there is a break, to experience GIGX and see for themselves what the next frontier of Web3 is. Last but not least, I'll talk about some opportunities for you guys out there. The first one is Complex Grants. This is for builders, for developers, teams, entrepreneurs who want to develop and deploy something on top of Conflux, right? From the very beginning, when we designed Conflux Network, a big portion of our tokens, the pre-mined tokens, which are unlocked throughout a period of 4 years, are specifically reserved for builders, for the ecosystem. And the amount that will be released over 4 years is 2.4 billion CFX, which is at the current price today around 400 and 800 million US dollars, right? And we welcome every builder, everyone who has an idea, to apply for a grant, because these 2.4 billion CFX were reserved for you guys from the very beginning. And if you're not a builder, there are also other opportunities, right? You can participate in the security of the network by mining, by running and mining through a POW node and earning rewards if you mine a block, or through staking, right? You can also organize events wherever you are, right? And inform your peers about Complex Network and blockchain technology. If you get to us, you give us the plan, we will compensate you for that, absolutely. If you're a digital artist, may it be like digital art in form of a JPEG or a small video, or even music, you can sell them on decentralized products deployed on Conflux, where the fees are transparent and you know what you'll be getting. You can also participate in upcoming products and help them build a community, help them write articles. help them spread the word. And I'm sure the projects will also refund you in return as a thank you. Well, blockchain is also called DeFi, decentralized finance, right? If you have digital assets, you can have your assets work for you by putting them into DeFi products. For example, by lending and borrowing the assets that you're holding or participate in liquidity mining. It's up to you, but before you put anything into any DeFi project, please, as always, do your own research. And if possible, look at the code if there are any bugs or anything, just to be safe. And the last thing you can always do is just to hodl it and hedge against inflation by yourself, instead of holding a currency where you know it's devaluating over the time. Yeah, and the one last remark I would like to share with everyone today is the stronger an ecosystem is, right, especially the complex ecosystem, one where I wish and encourage all of you to participate in, the more room there is to grow for the value of complex and all partners and ecosystem projects. Thank you very much for today. Unfortunately, I won't be there for the questioning, but I'm sure he is our African lead. He's got you. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Christian, for that presentation. Without wasting much time, we're going to the last item on our agenda for the day. I'd like to invite Jonathan Emmanuel, CEO Zenith Chain, for the last presentation. Let us put hands together for him.
Well, good evening all. Good evening all. All right, I'm Jonathan Emmanuel, CEO and founder of Zenith Chain. My PRO already spoke a lot about Zenith Chain, so I'll just cap it up. So Zenith Chain is a use case specific blockchain. So we took a look at Ethereum, we took a look at our BSC, and we wanted to create something far faster that can support smart contracts, EVMs, DeFi softwares that are all currently on the ERC network and the BSC network that will be able to scale faster. So we came up with the idea of Zenith Chain. So currently, Zenith Chain supports transactions up to 300,000 transactions per second, which is like the fastest in the whole blockchain space right now. Not so many people know about that. So we started IEO about 2 weeks ago. We rounded up with the IEO, which was a great success. And our community right now, it's over 47,000 members. We are currently registered in Lithuania. We wanted to start with Nigeria at first, but looking at the Nigerian market, not so many people believed in us. You know, they just said, yeah, this small boy, what can you achieve? So we registered the company in Lithuania, and we sought out for different blockchain developers. I was able to get developers from India, from US, from Brazil. We put them all together, and we came up with the wonderful product called Zenith Chain. Now, Zenith Chain is not just, we don't just have a coin that you can trade. It has a real use case. Now, the Zenith coin itself, which is a native coin on the Zenith Chain, can be used to settle so many things. Payment, you can use it for payments, you can use it to settle fees on the network. Now, the fees on Zenith Chain is about a quarter of a cent, which is $0.00005, which is like the lowest that you can see in the whole blockchain industry. So we are currently rolling out our wallet, our exchange, and our own digital verse. So we don't want Africa to be left out in this metaverse and NFT space. So we actually have our own digital land that we're rolling out. Now, on the Zenith verse, you can own digital lands, you can own NFTs, you can auction it and all of that at a very low cost. Because minting an NFT on Ethereum right now, I'm telling you, spend more than ₦1 million to mint an NFT. But on the Zenith chain, you won't even spend up to 1 kobo to mint an NFT. So that's just the little thing about Zenith chain. You can hop on our website, study more, read the white paper. It's a 27-page white paper. And we welcome all developers to come build on Zenith chain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us appreciate him one more time, please. That was quite concise and precise. We have come to the end of today's event. For the vote of thanks, I'd like to invite Anderson Ozapo, Business Chief at Technext, for the vote of thanks. Thank you. Please let us put hands together for Anderson Ozapo as he comes on stage.
Good evening, everybody. We appreciate everyone who is still here with us at this time of the night. We are grateful to all our sponsors, who without them we wouldn't have been able to pull this off. Most importantly, we are also grateful to those of you that showed up, everyone who registered, everyone who turned up, and everyone who came here tonight. We say a very big thank you. We thank our speakers. At least today, you heard from the first keynote that regulation is not against us. They are trying to do things in our own benefit. And then we saw the potential of crypto, how it has a lot of good. And like Dozier said, that could also be another reason why we should observe and understand. I just want to thank especially the organizers, the volunteers, and everyone who made sure in their own little corners and in their own effort that this event happened today. Can you please put a round of applause? Just give a round of applause to yourselves. Give a round of applause to everyone. So for the Technext team, I would want to invite the Technext team to please come up stage. If you know you're in the hall, so that we can say this thank you together, and then we'll wrap up. The Technext team, if you are here in the hall, please come up stage. The Technext team, please. This team have been working very hard in the last couple of months. Yeah. And as you can see, we are a lot of young people, and with your help, we're able to pull this off. And we believe that the one for 2022 will be much, much, much bigger than what you have experienced today. And we trust that we're going to put everything in place to make everybody happy, to keep everybody here, and we'll have a good time together. So on behalf of the Technext team, on behalf of the CEO, the editor, the writers, the designers, the creative guys in the team, we say a very, 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 very big thank you to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We can have more photo sessions outside, please, if you want to take more pictures. I remain my humble self, Shola Eson. Thank you for today. We'll see you again next year. Good night.